Gaming news today is all about important updates. First, GTA 6 release date got a nice update from the Take-Two CEO, and with speculation starting to swirl about the GTA 6 trailer 3 and when it's going to show up, this is a welcome bit of information. Second, the PlayStation DRM situation continued to spiral into absurdity over the last couple of days. There were strong claims, tweets, and videos decrying the situation, all while we had no concrete information available, and there was even mixed responses from PlayStation Help. Well, in a stunning result, PlayStation has responded, and I'm sure we're going to see a bunch of quick retractions and update videos very soon. Third, Xbox financials have hit, and the decline is not surprising, but Satya Nadella and Asha Sharma are both speaking to the need to win back fans, which is a bit transparent, but probably necessary in light of how the numbers are continuing to trend for the brand. Now, if you guys like this content and you're watching it later, you can help me out with something. You can hit like and subscribe. Those are the normal things to do to help a channel. If you want to go beyond that, we are very much dependent on direct viewer support, and the membership is the way to do that. For $5 a month, you get into my members-only Discord, and we are continuing to ask folks to consider doing that because it does support the channel and it helps me do this full-time. So if you can't do a membership, I understand, times are tough. Hit like, hit subscribe. Maybe you'll get a gifted membership from somebody else. So let's get into the first one. This is a bit of welcome news about GTA. When it comes to the GTA 6 release date, it's hard to take Strauss Zelnick at his word, given the number of times he made assurances about previous release dates that have now gone and passed behind us. But given how close we are to the next earnings call and likely GTA 6 trailer 3, his recent remarks hold more weight. First, because now is not the time to re-cement the release date if you're going to be delaying it again, so I don't think they will be doing that. And second, he said this in a more jovial fashion. Speaking at a conference in Las Vegas, he joked and he said, quote, "I think a lot of people will be calling in sick on November the 19th. Now, he also recently told Stephen Totillo of GameFile that they had plans for the LA Noire franchise, but when pressed for more details, he said, "You never know. The answer broadly is we're looking at doing something in the future with all of our intellectual property, but nothing to announce." So, I would say that's exciting for fans of LA Noire, but I would also say that the GTA 6 release date is pretty much locked in at this point due to his comments. Saying this right before an earnings call would be pretty disastrous if they were going to have to delay it again. And the Take-Two stock had a pretty good single-day gain in response to his joke. So now we just have to wait for GTA 6 trailer 3 and all the marketing that we've heard is about to spin up, likely in May. But those are just my thoughts on the matter, and I'd love to hear what you have to think as well. And we also have to talk about the PlayStation DRM situation because, yeah, you know. For the last week, we've had to hear a lot of sky is falling and pearl clutching about a lot of unclear information about an alleged DRM 30-day check-in for digital PlayStation games. The fear was that they had pushed out an update that would require you to connect your PlayStation to the internet at the very least every 30 days. My take on this was very simple. I was really hoping it wasn't true. I did not like the idea of somebody's entire library being locked down simply because of a lack of internet access. I also thought it might have been for PSN games since you don't actually own those, and maybe people were misfiring because it would make sense for it to check every 30 days because those games are on the subservice and they are not something that you own. Well, PlayStation has responded and they confirmed what one user had discovered to be true, and we started theorizing that this was what it was about. It is a one-time thing, Theories are that, there was a one-time thing due to the ability to refund the game, and there was a loophole, and there was also theories about jailbroken PlayStations. Here is what PlayStation said. Quote, "Players can continue to access and play their purchased games as usual. A one-time online check is required to confirm the game's license, after which no further check-ins are required." Now, some people thought this wasn't clear and didn't really answer the question. It literally says it's a one-time check, one as in one, not more, and also it says that no further check-ins are required. Anybody struggling to understand this should maybe attend a preschool class to learn English. Do not expect anyone who capitalized on this and the lack of information to publish retractions or updates or bring clarity to the market. They just spread misinformation, create false headcanon for all of the anti-Sony fans out there, and they just move on. But that's just what I think. We all know what they think. Let's move on to the next one, because it's not looking good, but it could be a turning point for Xbox. And this is just a quick one here. Xbox continues to see decline while Satya is speaking to the need to win back fans. According to their own financials, Xbox content and services revenue declined 6.6% year over year. Xbox hardware revenue decreased 33% year over year. Now, keep in mind, that's year over year. In all previous years, for the most part, Xbox hardware revenue has continued to go down. Now, Satya Nadella acknowledged the need to win back fans across Windows and Xbox, and he said, quote, "When it comes to our consumer business, we're doing the foundational work required to win back fans and strengthen engagement across Windows, Xbox, Bing, and Edge. In the near term, we are focused on fundamentals, prioritizing quality and serving our core users better." You see this in the work underway across our consumer products. With Windows, we recently announced performance improvements for lower memory updates, streamlined the Windows Update experience, and brought back focus to core features and fundamentals that matter most to our customers. And you also see this in Xbox, where the team is recommitting to our core fans and players and shaping the future of play. Last week's Game Pass changes are one example of how we are staying responsive to customer feedback. So listen, It seems that the response from Asha lately is actually coming directly from Satya, as well as their own internal concerns over their obvious decline. The hardware decline being year over year is basically year over year all previous years that were also in decline. I think there was maybe a single quarter where it wasn't down. Now, that's a worrying trajectory for all of their future hardware plans if the consumers and the public are essentially moving on from your platform. It's why I think the exclusive talk is all bark and no bite. There is no business reason or business impetus to head in that direction. As I said earlier this week, talk is cheap, and Xbox has been really good at the talking part this gen. The delivery, not so much. But that's just what I think. Now it's time to hear what you think. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And we started things off strong over there on Purple. A 10 bomb to start the day. Thank you so much, Wired Rope. And buddy, do we need it. If you guys want to unlock Saturday, we're going to have to hustle today and tomorrow. And we do have a stretch goal. If you guys hit it, we'll make Madam play Soros, and we can obviously run some experiments with the mods to make it easier or harder. And Cardoc Ren renewed his Prime over there on Purple as well. And then Michael renewed for 23 months on YouTube. And then Dude with the Drum Set renewed for 37 months as well on YouTube. It says, don't forget to like and subscribe. Someone gift this man a ribeye. I appreciate that. That's very kind. And Joker Quinn getting us to 219. I at this point, I have like one ribeye a year. They're too expensive. I get one for Father's Day. I used to buy them fairly regularly, but that was like pre-COVID. And then after that, meat got too expensive. So we don't really do ribeyes all that often here. But good morning and good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Make sure you guys go through the ritual of hitting the like button. We will be playing more Soros later. I'm going to continue to make content with that kind of until the wheels fall off. We're basically going to go until we're kind of covered every single biome. And I'm going to give some tips and tricks today on how to make the game either more approachable or more difficult, depending on where your preferences lie. 90% of the stuff I listen to is just background noise while I game. Now that I'm playing Cyberpunk on PC with my headphones on, this is the only content I listen to. Well, I appreciate that very, very much. Feet on Land says, yes, let's do exclusivity again while our hardware is down 30% every year. That's what I kept telling people. I was like, I don't see a business angle for Xbox here. I don't see how they could possibly leverage exclusives with where they stand in the market. I just truly don't. I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to use exclusives to do? You're going to use exclusives to get people to buy a Helix. The Helix is going to be a fairly, expensive PC console hybrid. At this point, I'm like, well, if you do exclusives, you could maybe do timed exclusives, I don't know. Even then, it's hard to know. Try and pick up a steak sponsorship. That'd be pretty nice, wouldn't it? I feel the need for learning. What's good, Jack Garland? When you constantly rage and complain about fake issues, people won't listen when you have legit criticism. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is going to be. The problem is with the whole boy who cried wolf scenario, Hidden Siriu, is that there's a big crowd that likes all of the crying wolf. They enjoy it. They sort of, they relish in it. They don't even care if it's fake. They don't care if it ends up not being true. They'll have fun through all of the bluster and all of the shouting and all of the pearl clutching. And then when it turns out to not be true, they'll just move on to something else. Like, it's the cycle of news is maddening. It's like something like that comes out. We have nothing official. We have no way of knowing what it means. I was like, well, is it for PS Plus? Is it something they're trying to implement? I don't know why they would. I was like, I've had mind check for licenses before. Is this been in place since the beginning? It was very confusing. And I was like, hopefully they didn't do it because there's people that are not going to be able to play their games if they're unable to access the internet for a very long time. And then we find out that it's not even true. It was because of a refund loophole that people were likely leveraging with the way these sorts of things happen. You won't see retracting videos? No. You'll see the retracting videos right up there with all the videos of them making $700 PCs that could beat the Pro. None of those videos ever got made. Everybody said they could, and then all of a sudden they couldn't. And nobody's going to make videos retracting and being like, yeah, the PlayStation DRM thing was a literal nothing burger. It is quite literally a one-time thing on a digital game. You download a digital game, and then it's going to, like, verify the DRM. Oh, my gosh. What are you going to do? You just downloaded the game with the internet. And it's because you can refund the games. Now, I don't know if they're rolling this out. Are they going to roll? My hope is the reason that this seemed to trigger people and suddenly show up was because maybe they are going to start letting us refund games more easily. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody made a really, really helpful image. Let me show you the image. And I'm like, well, maybe this means they're going to give us an actual, like, 14-day period or something. Somebody made this image. When you buy a game on the PlayStation Store, so before March, you just got this permanent license. After March, there's this refund period here, and then right here, once you're outside of it, an online check is required to convert it to a permanent license. And I'm thinking, if this orange period is meaning that maybe they're getting, I don't know, maybe they're getting ready to usher in some type of refund, because right now, refunding is a pain in the rear end. It's like, you have to literally contact them via a chat, and then they're super, super strict. A lot of times they don't let you do it. And they'll say, well, no, you already downloaded it. And I'm like, I downloaded it, but I didn't play it. Yo, Edward Hulse with 33 months and a member plus says, I'm glad the DRM is a one-time thing. I don't have to worry about losing access to digital copies I purchased, but I'd still buy physical copies of games too. Thank you for 33 months, and that gets us to 220. We're exactly a 5-bomb away from the next milestone. Thank you so much, Edward. I couldn't refund Mind's Eye. Still upset about it. Yeah, and again, this thing rolled out in March, so I don't know if maybe they're anticipating refunds, becoming a needed thing. I don't know if maybe, there is the possibility that they're worried that the Stop Killing Games initiative will be a hop, skip, and a jump to beat people being able to refund games. Kind of sounds like Nintendo's game sharing. No, it's not like game sharing. This is in response to PS5 being jailbroken already. A jailbroken console could be the end of a console, just like the Dreamcast. Yeah, the hope would be is you could just push out something at a software level on the games themselves. I don't know, to prevent it from being effective as a jailbreak. Because the games themselves were the problem with the Dreamcast, right? You had literally all of the games on a disc, like every game. Not every game, but like my friend had like multiple discs. And you'd pop the disc in, and there's like multiple games that you could play there. It'll definitely make the morons saying PlayStation is crap for this before they knew it was going on look like crap themselves. People kept coming in and asking me about it, and I was like, we don't have enough information. I was like, it's not clear. PlayStation said 2 different things in response in the help chat. People are getting different results. And I said, I'll be honest, if this is what they're going to do, I feel like it's been in place for a long time and no one's going to complain because no one knows it's happening. And I said that's unfortunate because I don't like the idea of your entire library getting shut down if you don't have access to the internet for 30 days. And we talked about guys that get like deployed and stuff. And I said, but the problem is you're not going to get enough people to complain. Turns out it's not even a real thing. I thought the whole thing was going to blow over and they were going to say, oh, that's for PSN, that you guys misfired. I thought it was checking every 30 days to see if you had a subscription to PSN because you don't own those games. You can download them. That's what I thought it was going to turn out to be. It turns out it's because there's a 14-day refund, window or whatever. So a lot of this started with screenshots. Yeah, and screenshots don't necessarily mean anything. I took a chance on it considering CP and No Man's Sky made a better game. What game are you talking about? Most people don't even notice. That's what I said. I said you're going to have a hard time mobilizing consumers because nobody knows this is going on. The average consumer who plays video games and downloads them digitally always has internet in their home. Even if there's an internet outage, they're not going to be in bad shape because it was only every 30 days. I said that the odds of somebody encountering this is incredibly low. That didn't mean it was okay. I had multiple people be like, well, because people don't notice, does that make it okay? And I was like, no, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying you're not going to get enough consumers to complain. They might just, if this is real, conditional, like if this is real, they'll just let it roll. Because not enough people will complain. The help chat was AI and people were running with it. Even after 30 days, if you connect to the internet, the license comes back. No, you don't have to do it. PlayStation officially responded. You do not have to continually have the license checked. That's not a thing. They said it's a one-time thing. It's basically because within the first 14 days you can return it. Okay? Once you're outside that period, within the first 30 days, as long as that thing's plugged in, it verifies the license. From that point on, they say there is no need to recheck. The reason that I was getting weird messages like that is because I was switching which PlayStation was the offline PlayStation. And it would sometimes be like, we need to verify your licenses. And the only reason it's doing that is because there's loopholes to allow people to basically, share games indefinitely. Did Lono already speak to the Microsoft earnings report? I mean, I spoke about it in the show open. I'm not surprised their numbers are down. They're probably not thrilled that services and revenue, gaming and services revenue is down. That's probably not very encouraging given how much they own. But it could literally be, it could be any number of things. It could be one of the reasons that they're scrambling to lower the price and launch, not scrambling to lower the price. They're scrambling to launch new tiers of Game Pass because I think they want to make some of that money back. Yo, it's good, Feed. I see you in the chat. Would there be any assumption to say that people don't realize that purchasing a digital game is a license and it's not like buying a physical? Well, sure. Most people don't even realize that that's what they're doing, Chris. That's exactly right. The average consumer has no idea. They're like, no, I own the game. It's right there. I installed it. Happy Thursday. Please hit the awesome like button. Guys, Feed is in the chat and asking you guys to hit the like button. Get on it. More ammo for the exclusive crowd? What do you mean more ammo for the exclusive crowd? How is this ammo for that? You're going to have to connect those dots for me. I don't understand what you're saying. What's good, Andrew? Good to see you over there on Purple. Still believe they took the easy way out because a fan said the 14-day and they rolled with that. They could be testing the waters. Odd they didn't use their official channel for the PSA. So your theory is that PlayStation saw a person on Twitter theorize that it was a 14-day return policy, and they said, yeah, go with that. You think that's what they did? You think PlayStation is watching Twitter, and they decided to have a corporate spokesperson just mimic what that person said? That's your theory? Exodius Faith, thank you so much for the membership, getting us to 221. Anderson, still on PC. Tell me when Xbox and PlayStation stop making us pay literally $60 just to play online. Yeah, they're not going to. So you're either going to get over it or just, I guess, never play online games on a PlayStation, which, what online games are you playing? I mean, if you're playing the free-to-play ones, you don't have to pay for it. But if you're playing games like, like a Borderlands or something or an Arc Raiders, you will. They're not going to get rid of it. One thing you can say, though, is Sony really needs to be quicker with comms. Microsoft too much, Sony too little or too slow. Now they have the air of suspicion. Let me tune you into something. PlayStation doesn't pay attention to that crap. It made no major headlines. There was virtually no major news outlets covering this. Do you want to know why? It was unconfirmed. It was just a bunch of Twitter chatter. And your typical YouTubers jump on it, and because everybody's like, oh my gosh, is this real? Now, there are YouTubers that cover it and are like, what the heck is this? And it's in good faith. There are YouTubers that cover it and it's in bad faith. And they basically lie to the public and say that it's real and it's a thing and Sony's awful. And then Sony realizes, wait, what is going on? We'll put together a statement. Yes. Like, companies of that size don't have people just hanging out on Twitter to be like, oh, we better fire off a statement. Lona, what you had said when the game starts showing up view product, does that mean I need to reinstall them? No, it means that PlayStation is not set as the offline PlayStation. You can only have one PlayStation set as the home/offline PlayStation. You can only have one that does it. And when you have another one that's had it and had it turned off, it'll say view product. So like Madam's account can play my PlayStation games, and one of the reasons is because hers is set as that PlayStation. If I switch it and she goes in with her account, it'll just say view product. Like on my PlayStation, if I log in as her to try to play the games, it'll say view product. It won't let me do it because mine's not designated as that one. They're not obligated to constantly watch for FUD and over communicate. That's what I mean. Like, the Twitter space is full of so much bad faith and so much misinformation and so much nonsense. You can't expect a company Sony's size to be paying attention to it. Like, they're just not going to. Like, they don't care. Like, obviously, Xbox is far more socially active on these platforms. If something like this would have hit about Xbox, and if it would have been completely made up and fake, there would have been a response that day. They would have had a response to, Windows Central or to The Verge. They would have said something to one of those outlets. Those are the two outlets they tend to fire off responses to fairly quickly. At this point, Asha's pretty active. Asha would have just jumped on Twitter and been like, no, that's not the case. PlayStation just doesn't engage in that way. Sony does not engage in that way. They're far more apt to not say anything. There's a theory that's why Bungie has gone so quiet. That Bungie is basically being told by Sony, stop talking. You've got to stop talking. New GTA Online event starts on April 30th, available through May 6th. Play old school hits. The first community mission made with the new Rockstar creator. So maybe no news on GTA 6. My theory is the second week of May. We're theorizing about May 5th. We think Cinco de Mayo is going to be a big day, big trailer day, but the issue that I have with PlayStation is that I can't play Kirby Air Riders offline or online. That is a real dilemma for PlayStation owners, Cool Spoon. The lack of Kirby Air Riders is really detrimental to their future success. They're too busy making games and counting money, says Zybersword. Twitter is literally an ocean of nothing but BS half the time, and these companies know that they are not going to waste their time on it. That's right. It's just such an enormous waste of time. That's why when people are like, oh, did you make a video on it? Did you cover it? I'm like, cover what? We don't know. I was like, what do you want me to say? I was like, if it's real, I don't like it at all. I don't want anybody's library getting locked down because they don't have internet. You know what I mean? You fall on hard times and you have to cancel your internet or something and you still have your PlayStation and all your games. I hated the idea of people losing access to their games. I was like, that would be terrible. But I also kept saying, we don't know what this is. I said it could be something as simple as a PlayStation, a PSN, a PS Plus check. It could be as simple as that. It turns out it's a refund thing, which again, I hope is an indication that, maybe they are going to start letting us refund more easily. I highly doubt that, but I would love it for them to be like, hey, within the first 14 days, if you play a game less than an hour or less than 2 hours, you can refund it and we'll give you store credit. We'll put the funds in your wallet. I've said I don't expect PlayStation to reverse the charge and foot the credit card charge bill because they pay a fee every time, right? They pay that fee. It's like I don't expect them to do that, but you could at the very least put the money back in my PlayStation wallet so I could just use it on a different game. I was traumatized waiting for Sony to confirm this in the last 3 days, even though I've had access to my games the entire time. You were traumatized. My initial thoughts as a veteran were about troops. For more than half the year, I don't know what TDY is. Coming home to a bricked PlayStation 5 would hurt. Mosley, I said it just, unfortunately, it's such a small percentage of people that would encounter it. You wouldn't get enough complaining. Like, I want you to imagine a veteran comes home and encounters that. You know what he's going to do? He's going to go to Google, or he's going to figure it out, and he's going to be like, oh, I just need to plug it into the internet. And then, like, 20 minutes later, he'd be back up and running. Like, the average consumer just wasn't going to complain because the solution is so simple and so readily available. The PlayStation wouldn't be bricked. It would be like, oh, you need to connect to the internet to verify your license. And they'd be like, oh, and they would just do it. Like, most people do not have the level of, like, passion that we do about the hobby. They just don't. They don't have the level of passion that we do. So if they see that alert, they're not going to be like, this is unconscionable. They'd be like, oh, I need to get internet. You know what I mean? Bricked. Yeah, he was being obviously, hyperbolic. Not bricked, but they need to connect to the internet. I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm saying they wouldn't have complained. They would have just connected it to the internet and that'd have been the end of it. Most consumers don't think like this. They're just like, oh, that's fine. Like, no big deal. Like, there's something similar that you can do with the video streaming apps. You can download shows and movies, but they're only downloadable and playable for a certain number of time, because what you could do is you could sign up for Netflix and download entire seasons of shows into the app, cancel Netflix, and for months have tons of content to watch on your device. That's why after so many days, it requires you to basically connect to the internet, and it's like, oh yeah, you can continue watching this. It's a similar idea that people were worried was going to happen with PlayStation games. That's why I thought it was related to PS Plus. I was like, this sounds like a subscription service thing. This doesn't sound like a digital library thing. Guarantee the people crying the loudest won't check again in 32 days. But they won't have to check again in 32 days next wish. PlayStation responded, you don't have to continually check in every 30 days. It's a completely false story. It's literally false. Within the first 30 days, you have to get a one-time check, because within the first 14 days, you can refund it. By the way, they didn't even say that. That's the running theory as to why they're doing it. PlayStation has specifically responded to this and said there's a one-time check, and after that, it does not have to continually be checked. It's a completely fake story. It's totally fake. That's why I was like, I'm not going to make a video on this. I'm not covering this until we get more information. I'll give you my opinion. I'm like, well, if this is real, I don't like this at all, because you can lock down somebody's entire library. They responded, they watch. I mean, I don't think they watch any channels or Twitter. I think it started to hit some of the major news cycles because it was hitting YouTube channels. And then eventually it gets across somebody's desk and they're like, we got to respond to this. You got people out here claiming that their library can get locked down if they don't connect to the internet every 30 days. So is Mystic's video correct? I'm not sure what video you're referring to. Any video that claimed you would have to log in, you'd have to connect to the internet every 30 days is absolutely 100% false and incorrect. They should all publish retractions. They should all publish update videos saying, we were incorrect. PlayStation responded, you do not have to connect and have your license renewed every 30 days. It's completely and utterly false. It's a one-time thing in the first 30 days. Alec Trevelyan says, thanks for covering this, the PlayStation DRM rumblings. As I'd asked the question to a comment you on another video and hoped I'd not missed your insider view on it. This is the first show I could see due to work. No problem. Thank you for the $20 super chat. That's very generous. GameSpot asked them to respond. Oh, so GameSpot literally reached out. Yeah, at that point, you need somebody in the press to reach out and say, what's going on here? We have people claiming you gotta renew your license every 30 days. They won't go back and correct themselves, says Next to Wish. The outrage got the clicks, and they won't correct themselves. No, of course not. Of course not. This platform in particular has just become, it's just a wasteland of that. It's just make false claim, make ragey surprise face on thumbnail, use big, huge, fat letters. That's all the platform has become. AI thumbnails of shock and awe with giant letters. And it's just like, holy frick. And then if it doesn't matter if it's true or not. You mean the press were doing their job? It would be amazing if I had contacts, because that's what I would have done. I'd been like, I'll just send an email, boys. This doesn't make any sense to me. And if they had to come back and said it was real, I'd have been like, yeah, this is terrible. We don't want this. I got a code for 4Loop for my PS5 last night. Oh, nice. Nice. I think 4Loop could be fun for a little while because it's PvE. I still don't think it looks like a very good game. They're going to have to really, really impress me to change my mind. I'm open to being wrong. I think it has more potential than PvP live service games right now, but it truly has become who can cause the best rage bait. Yeah, that's all you do. You just rage bait. There's this really bad thing happening. And then a day later, 48 hours later, oh no, yeah, it was totally fake and not real. And then they'll just move on to the next thing. There's this really bad thing happening. And it's like, okay. I can't believe Sony expects me to have access to the internet when I'm downloading games from the internet. I do find it a little funny the people that only buy digital were up in arms about a one-time check-in. No. They weren't up in arms about a one-time check-in, Mr. Anderson. They were up in arms about the fact that it was going to need to do it every 30 days. And the thought was, what if I shut my internet off for a while or something? What if I fall on hard times and that's the easiest bill to cut, right? For most of us, that would be the last bill to cut. People would cut all their television services first, all their subscription services first, before they would cut the dadgum internet. But there could be a situation where you're like, I've absolutely got to cancel internet. Well, then 31 days later, your PlayStation has a library that's dead. That was a terrible scenario if that were to happen to somebody. Who would rage bait for attention? Honestly, you effing peasants are too much. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and I kept reading anyway, Zubair. Did you see Xbox had a free game on the store by accident? Whoever downloaded it couldn't play it. Xbox is giving them the game free with a new code that can play. Yeah, it probably has something to do with the EULA. Like, if they didn't actually pay for it, the license is void, so they had to give them a free one. I would imagine there's legal reasons for that. Like, they were like, yeah, you didn't buy that. You can't have that. Probably would be my guess what happened. Like, if there was not any actual deal or arrangement for that to be a free-to-play game, that can cause all kind of legality issues on the back end. Was it a third-party game or a first-party game? Marathon check. Destiny 2 currently has had more players all morning. We might do a marathon show Friday if there's nothing else really going on. I don't mind covering every now and again. My ability to prophesy has not left me. Mystic Ryan, the guy I was referring to, is a PlayStation YouTuber. He's great. He covered the story and was basically like, let's wait and see. Then he was the one to first cover the truth. Well, good for him. Good for him. I literally wouldn't cover it for that reason. I would dialogue about it, but I was like, I'm not going to make a video about this, and I'm not going to run it as a news story. We don't have any information. We don't. It was like, well, we've got 2 different responses from PlayStation Help. So, Echo says, hate to beat the dead horse, but this morning, Destiny 2 had more players than Marathon on Steam. Yeah, listen. Yeah, we don't need to beat the dead horse. It's you can't beat the dead horse once it's buried. Like, it's in the ground. The game's cooked, boys. I don't see them. I don't know how they're even going to make it to Season 2. I don't see how they're even going to make it to Season 2. I think everybody's buying their time. I think June is going to be some kind of a seismic change at the company. I don't know what it is, but the game's cooked. I don't see how they make it to Season 2. They don't have enough players. They haven't found a floor. There is no floor. The floor for that game is a grave. That's the facts. It's a live service game that hasn't found its floor yet. I don't know what to tell you. It's a good game with such narrow appeal. Matty Plays admitted his video was wrong. I expect that from Matty. Matty's a stand-up guy. I think there are guys, I said, there are guys that cover this sort of thing in good faith, and they'll circle back and update everybody. Young does that. Matty does that. These are stand-up guys. They're not gonna rage bait and then just move on to the next topic. They will quite literally do the update and say, hey, good news. It's not an every 30-day check. I do not mind somebody covering it when we don't have all the information, as long as they admit we don't have all the information. If they're like, listen, this could be really bad, we'll have to wait for a response from PlayStation. As long as they circle back and they do the update, I don't care. I think that's completely legitimate in this day and age to give the information as soon as it hits, as long as you're clear that the information's unconfirmed and you're like, we don't really know, and then you do the follow-up. I expect nothing less from Matty. He's a stand-up guy. I don't expect him to just rage bait and move on. That's not his style. He has no problem doing an update. Matty's quick to jump on anti-Sony news. I would say that Matty's quick to jump on news because that's his job. He covers the gaming industry. That guy's a content machine. Have you seen his second channel? Jiminy Christmas. He's a content machine, brother. He's doing his job. He was very critical of Xbox. Very critical. He could have burned bridges, I'll be honest. How critical he was with Xbox, he could have burned some bridges. They'd be like, we're not going to work with that guy. Whenever like there was bad news and like Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond were like MIA, he called that I think he used the word cowardly or cowardice. I don't think he's held back or not been critical of Xbox. If anything, I feel like I've seen him be more critical of Xbox and Bethesda as of late. I don't feel like he's like Mr. Anti-Sony. I've never gotten that vibe from his videos. Ever. I'm behind, but TDY means temporary duty assignment. Oh, thank you, Lone Wolf. Yeah, sorry, vets. I don't speak your language. You know I love you. I do. I genuinely have big love for vets, but I don't know. I don't speak your language. I didn't know what TDY was. Yo, good morning, Hilly. I was enjoying Marathon, but starting to get a little bored with it now. I just want to hit level 100 and I'm probably done. That's that game's biggest problem, is even the people that it appealed to are kind of bailing. Yeah, I saw Laura Fryer's response. It made me cry. I was like, no. She's like, thank you for the invite and the support. Not doing podcasts quite yet, but I appreciate the offer. Isn't she a rock star, though? Did you watch her latest video? Listen, she's kind of adorable. Like, her studio keeps getting updated. Her pacing's getting better. I'm like, I really enjoy watching her videos. Like, as a YouTuber that's been doing it for 10 years, I'm kind of like cheering for her. I'm like, keep going. You go, girl. Like, we need you in this space. She is awesome. She is so awesome. I'm glad she responded, because I can always circle back and say, hey, you know, totally understand. Keep doing it. Your videos get better and better. You know, I think she probably is maybe a little apprehensive about doing the podcast thing, because the podcast thing you're not editing that. You're just sitting down and talking. And she might be just a little less comfortable with that, because that's a little bit more daunting of a task. Every time she publishes a video, it's exactly how she wants it to be. She strikes me as a person that kind of, you know, likes things to be a little neat and tidy. And so it's like she probably is a little apprehensive. Like, podcasts can get, you know, a little like maybe I misspeak or maybe I don't know how to answer a question or something. Yes, I'm going to play Sorrows today. We're talking Laura. She's just the best. She really is. We need to protect her at all costs. I was very, very angry with the Xbox boys when they tried to have a go at her because of one of her videos. I was like, you put some frickin' respect on her dadgum name. You don't know who the frick you're talking about. Like, I got angry. Not like White Knight, like, what the heck? She deserves a whole lot more respect. All you Johnny-come-latelys acting like you know about Xbox. She was there when the old magic was written. You put some dadgum respect on her name. She was in the room. She was at the events, dude. She's been there since the beginning. Jiminy Christmas. I like her content a lot. I found her when she had like 15,000 subscribers, and I was like, I love what she's saying. So, yeah, unfortunately, She replied to me, and she's not doing podcasts just yet. So very soon, we'll have some more stuff on the channel. So you want to be here every day. I'm not telling you when there's special events or special guests, but boys, there's some stuff you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed with the bell button, all right? And do me a favor right now. Try to get us to 200 likes. She probably isn't used to being live either. Being live is very, very intimidating for some people. They do not like the idea of being live. Dollars to donuts, the first couple times she agrees to a podcast, I would be surprised if she prefers it to be recorded. That wouldn't surprise me at all. If she finally says, okay, I'll do a podcast with so-and-so or so-and-so, she probably prefers it to be recorded because being live is intimidating for some people. To me, it's just another day. I'm like, I've been doing this for a decade. For a fourth of my life, I've been in front of a live camera for almost every day of the week. Print that message out and frame it. Hold Laura's actual words in your possession. Oh, for Pete's sakes. I think she's replied to me before, brother. Aren't most podcasts recorded? You might be right, Zubair. You might be right. I don't know. Maybe I'm viewing things through my own lens. I'm like, why would you not do the podcast live? But you might be right. Maybe she's just, it's possible too. Her schedule just doesn't allow for it. She's probably living a fairly, normal day-to-day life. Like she's not doing the content creator thing. I've witnessed that lately. There's more disdain for Spencer now that he's retired, yet he was Lord and Savior. There was praise and defense. Well, that's what frustrated me pretty severely. Like, after ABK, I didn't have a ton of respect for how The Verge, particularly Tom Warren, was covering ABK trial. I didn't think it was covered very well. The way that he handled the Sarah Bond thing, I was like, this is low class, bro. I don't have any respect for this at all. I think that article should have been resoundingly rejected by the gaming community. I think Xbox fans should have rejected it. I think everybody should have called that what it was. That was just corporate scapegoating, and Warren was a willing participant. I thought that was absurd. That article is garbage. It is absolute garbage. It was written. It's basically like a gossip hit piece. It makes me question everything the man publishes, because it's like, I don't know why you're publishing this. Why are you publishing this? You're being a corporate scapegoat mouthpiece. That article was garbage. I was glad that virtually nobody else ran with a piece like that. Like, I was so glad that like nobody else ran with pieces like that. Laura and Lana are the two dream guests. Who's the second person you're referring to? That's strange. I try responding to someone by copying and pasting their username, but it copies a different person because chat's moving. Very odd. Now I know to at someone, not copy their name. Oh, yeah. Adding people in YouTube chat's terrible, brother. YouTube chat's terrible. I don't YouTube much, typically on Twitch. Yeah, YouTube's chat's terrible. It's not your problem. Oh, you talking about Alana Pierce? Oh yeah, I would love to, I would anything with Alana Pierce, Skill Up, Jake Baldino. I love their friends per second thing. Like, I think they're great. I know a lot of people don't like Alana Pierce. I have no issue with her at all. I think she's hilarious. I said the other day, like, her ability to edit videos, I wish I had her comedic timing and writing ability. Yeah, Zinthos, you just got to be patient, my friend. You just have to be patient. She didn't deserve that. Yeah, it was low class. It was low class. Did you see the Xbox earnings call info? Yeah, it looks pretty bad. This might be, I think Gene Park pointed this out. This might be one of the first times they've been like, yeah, it's bad. In all the years of covering Xbox, when have they ever been like, it's bad? It's bad. We've been doing pretty bad. There's a guest today? No guest today. To add someone, the user has enabled it on YouTube. Oh, really? Yeah, no guests today. We have some guests lined up. You're just going to have to wait. I'm not telling you when they're going to be here. You just want to be here every day, and then something crazy might happen. My prediction thing, tried to correct her. Oh, okay. They ran out of cope. Yo, Gavin with 30 months. If this is to confirm that you haven't refunded the game, does that mean it has to be done after the 14-day refund window? Yes, it does. So basically, if you buy a game and on the 13th day your internet goes out or whatever, you're probably going to get hit with the error message. So obviously, yes, that's a risk that, like, on the 13th day, it's like, oh wait, we can't verify the license. You're within the refund window. After that point, you would need to connect to the internet at least once. It's a one-time thing. Now they didn't say 14-day refund window. They didn't. Let me see if I can find it. I had it. Where did I have it? Didn't GameSpot's the one that covered it, I believe. Sony quells concerns. Okay. Yeah, Sony says players can continue to access and play their purchase games as usual. A one-time online check is required to confirm the game's license, after which no further check-ins are required. See, even PlayStation's not saying anything about the refund policy, so I honestly don't know. Dan with a $5 Super Chat tip says, super close to completing Mouse PI. Wanted to know if I should start Alan Wake series for the first time or start Pragmata. I mean, I would start Pragmata. Pragmata is so stinking good, dude. It is so good. I really like it. I put 28 hours. I put 28 hours into Pragmata. I really liked it. I did. And Soros is clicking, boys. Soros is clicking. I mean, I'm telling you what. I think I figured out why everybody's acting like the game's super easy. Ask them to show you footage of them playing Biomes 3 all the way to the end without any of the modifiers turned on. I think these people turned the mods on and just either forgot or they don't care to share that. Because with some of those mods on, it's a completely different game. You can even go into the settings and not, you don't even have to balance the game. You can just turn on all the good ones and none of the bad ones. There's a setting that literally lets you do that. You can run the game on dadgum easy mode, basically. And the people that are like, oh, it's so easy, I flew through it. Yeah, that's what they did. I would love to see non-edited, uncut gameplay footage of somebody running, Biomes 3, 4, 5, and 6 and just shooting through it first try like all these guys were claiming. Yeah, let me see your footage of you doing that with none of the mods turned on, because I don't believe them. I don't. Are you not supposed to turn them on? You can, but turning them on makes the game way easier. If you literally turn on the mods that make the game easier, and then you bellyache that the game is easy, you have zero self-awareness. It's like stubbing your toe, but you're the one that kicked the dresser. It's like, what? Like, oh, stupid dresser's in my way. You kicked it. What do you mean? I mean it. These people are lying. Homie, I've gotten into some of these boss fights with the mods turned on. There's no way they were perfectly responding to all the new attacks, all the new movesets, and leveraging all the iframes, and just straight lining the game, Biome 3, 4, 5, and 6 with no mods on. There's no freaking way. There's no way. I've got over 200 hours in Returnal. I got so good at Returnal, I played Returnal just for fun, casually, and I'm telling you right now, this game, with zero mods turned on, anybody describing it as easy is not being honest. They turn those mods on and they blaze through the game. I guarantee you, the vast majority of the people making these claims are not being honest about how they played through the game. Now, if they're being honest and they're saying, oh, I turned the mods on and it made it too trivial and I went really fast, well, at least they're being honest. But there are guys out here running narrative that like, it's so easy, I one-shot all the bosses. 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's like, did you turn the mods on? I got to Biome 5's boss, and I got shellacked, and I had the mods on. I highly doubt people are getting into these environments and just perfectly managing all the new stuff. There's just no way. You don't know what's coming. The one boss fight's crazy. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. Shooting all these red things at me. There's no way people are getting into these fights and one-shotting them without help of the mods. I genuinely think folks are lying, because I'm a pretty experienced Returnal player, and I know exactly what's happening in these rooms if you don't have the mods turned on. Folks are going to get shredded. Absolutely shredded. Yo, Dan with the gifted member, thank you so much. I've got I don't even know how many hours in the game now, and I'm like, I've never been more confident that that's what people are doing. They're just straight up lying. I knew something didn't smell right. 14 hours. I have 14 hours in the game. I knew the first day I played the game, I knew something didn't smell right. I'm in Biome 2, and I'm kind of struggling. And I'm like, bro, there's no way people are genuinely concluding that this game's easier than Returnal. There's just no way. If you run from Biome 1, it does make it easier. It's because you have triple path to power now. Yes, that is true, Paul, but that's not what people were saying. That is not what people were saying. There was a guy saying he basically, once he got to Biome 3, he one-shot the rest of the game. And I was like, what? You just never died? Because if you're doing the story, you keep going back to the base, and that resets you, so you can't steamroll. You cannot steamroll. When you beat Biome 1 for the first time, it makes you go back. And then you go into Biome 2, and you've been reset to whatever your current level cap is. And then when you beat Biome 2, the exact same thing happens. Did being able to maintain levels between biomes help? It makes a world of difference, AOZ. If you right now just go into Biome 2 over and over again once you unlock it, you'll probably be like level 7, or 8. I was like level 7 every time I started it. If you run Biome 1, by the time you get to Biome 2, you're walking into Biome 2 like a level 20. It's a night and day difference. But I think it works. I think it's a well-built system, because the only way you do it is you have to kill the boss. They've incentivized you to refight the boss. In Returnal, you just straight up skip the boss. You're like, oh, I'm really strong. Let me go to Biome 2 if you've already beat Frike. So you just skip the boss. Well, in Saros, they give you a really, really heavy investment. Or I'm sorry, they give you a very heavy incentive to fight the boss again. Why? Because you're going to take all your stuff to Biome 2. So, do not trust the people that are like, this game's easy, I skated through it. Yeah, they're lying. They turn the mods on. They're probably an experienced Returnal player, but they turn the mods on. Even with turning the mods on, you can still get absolutely shellacked. Radbrad said the game's pushing him to his limits. Yeah, I was in a heated fight in Biome 2, and I'm like, these people are lying. This game is not easier than Returnal. I was like, it's not. I have the base move set of Returnal. I know where to go, what to do, where to stand, and how to get away from projectiles. There's like 10 times more projectiles in a room. The enemies move faster. They attack faster. Their telegraphs are sometimes extremely quick. I'm like, this game's about 10 times more intense and fast than Returnal. People saying it's easier. I told you guys my theory. I said, I bet you they got halfway, turned those mods on, and that's completely shaded their entire view of the game. I'll show you today. We will run Biome 1 to 3 with the mods on. And then we'll run with the mods off. And you will see the difference. It's a completely different game. Especially the guys with the lasers. Oh, those lasers don't... I'll be honest with you. I don't know if the lasers... I don't know. I feel like that's the only thing I've encountered that needs a patch. I can't figure them out. You're not fast enough. You're not. If you dodge away, he'll catch you. If you dodge through them and go in the opposite direction, he still catches me. because of the dash cooldown. He is so fast. I'm like, I almost always get hit by the lasers. I genuinely don't know how to get away from them. I've tried everything I can think to try. Oh, and by the way, dashing and then holding it so you start sprinting, that doesn't work in combat. That's for non-combat environments. You can't do like the really fast sprint thing, because I thought maybe that was the secret, is dash through the laser and continue holding sprint, so then you do the really fast thing. That doesn't work in combat. I wish it was more rogue RNG plus skill. Can you punch the laser? Even if you could, it doesn't matter. It'd be right on top of you, so then it would still get you. Like punch through it, you mean? Yeah, if you punch through it, maybe that's the strategy, is dash backwards, make space, as it gets closer, punch through it, and then dash the other direction. No, maybe that's the... Can you punch the lasers, guys? Have you tried? I don't even know. You can punch projectiles, but I don't know if you can punch lasers. What laser? The guys in Biome 2 that like shoot lasers down. There's like 3 of them, and he's just like, nee, and he's just like following you around. He gets me like every time. I literally dash through them and go as fast as I can in the opposite direction, and he still gets me. Lono, people are lying about games? No way. Thank you, Trey Gaming. Guys, if you're just tuning in, make sure and hit that like button. If you're looking for GTA 6 news, the latest about the GTA 6 release date, that's usually what brings people here on days like today. The GTA 6 release date was basically confirmed by Strauss Zelnick. He said he was joking around at an event in Las Vegas, and he said a lot of people are going to be calling in sick on November the 19th. Now, it's my opinion he wouldn't be saying that, and he wouldn't be driving that if they weren't getting ready to re-cement and reconfirm the release date of GTA 6 at the earnings call. So, I just weaved around. No, you need a game plan. You can just weave around. Thinking about Brick, I punched the initiative. I made that joke yesterday when somebody was like, you can punch the corruption. I was like, you can't punch the corruption. I was wrong. You can. He was, I punched the initiative. Yeah. Do the lasers have a delay in change of trajectory? Like, can you jig and cause them to lag? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm taking too much of a forward or backward approach to them, but the room doesn't always allow you. Like, you're working with the space that you're in. Maybe I do need to like dash to the left, have them come left, and then dash through them to the right. And now as they try to cut back, they're not gonna be able to. I don't know. They get me so consistently. I'm just not sure if they're tuned properly. He just seems too fast. I feel like he should turn around really slowly. He's a big giant robot flying in the sky. If I dash underneath of him, he should take a long time to turn around, and then I'd be safe. But he turns around and gets me so quickly, it's absurd. I'm like, what the frick? I just dashed. That's like the only fight I've been in that feels a little awkward. All the other fights, I feel like I've been able to kind of figure out the telegraphs and how to fight them and what to do. I'm already kind of in the zone with most of the enemies. Like, I kind of know what to do. That guy, I'm like, I don't know what the frick you're supposed to do. Yeah, it's not me. It's not a skill issue. It's the devs who are wrong. That's right. Jerry, with 17 months, let's add it to the total. RE9, Pragmata, and now Saros, back-to-back Game of the Year nominees. It's been a really, really good couple of weeks, has it not? Couple of months, I guess. Try taking the high ground. That's the strat, actually, Crank. If you go to high ground, he doesn't do the lasers. If you get up level with him, he shoots at you and does a lot of like the blue walls and stuff. Yeah. So you just got to get up to level ground with him. Yeah. So there's a lot going on in gaming news, guys. I don't mean to start gushing on Saros. That's obviously going to, drive folks away because that's not what's on the headlines. That's not what's in the title of the show. We're talking about the PlayStation DRM situation, the Xbox earnings. Jerry's going to cap us off at 225. It was just sitting there for the taking, and he takes it. Thank you so much, Jerry. I appreciate it so much. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. There's the PlayStation DRM, there's the GTA 6 release date, and there's the Xbox earnings. Satya and Asha are basically saying, yeah, we're not in a great spot. We gotta win players back. I mean, they're being pretty frank. So we are. There's the membership that I owe you. And if you guys are gonna unlock the Madam stream, we're headed towards 2 weeks in a row missing it. And we're going to have to make some considerations here if that trend continues. We'll just have to assess, what it is we need to change. But we appreciate the continued support. If you have a membership, if you gift, if you come in and hit like every day, we appreciate that. That is how we're able to do this. So thank you, everybody who's been doing that. GTA 6 is not launching on November the 19th. That's a Thursday, and Rockstar has never shipped a game for decades on Thursdays, only Tuesdays. My bet is GTA 6 will launch on Tuesday, November the 17th. Beer is your friend. But maybe you shouldn't drink during the morning, because I'm going to really blow your mind right here. Okay, you ready? Do you know what today is? Today is a Thursday. Do you know what released today? Jack Garland with the 5-bomb gets us to 230. We're 20 away from 250. We're going to need some 20 bombs if we're going to get the goal this week. Soros released today, but a bunch of us were playing it on Tuesday because of early access. So I'm going to blow your mind here. I think GTA 6 is going to do the same thing. They're going to motivate people to buy the more expensive edition for 48 hours of early access. That's what they're going to do. Glad it's not just me. Banshee, what are you referring to? How'd you fare with the storms? We did fine. We were okay. Yeah. May 22nd is the Lego Batman game. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be here for that. Yeah, I won't be here for that. We'll come back and play that one. I beat the Prophet last night, finally. I died last night using a level 17 pistol. Shot myself in the foot, switching from the assault rifle. What? You can shoot yourself in the foot? You can shoot yourself in this game? The Alphian sci-fi game, whatever it just called, released this week as well. It didn't do very well. It did not get good scores. November 17th for early access players. Okay, I can see that. I think that's what they're going to do. I think you're going to see more and more games setting their release dates at like a Thursday or a Friday, and then they're going to give you like 48 or 78 hours. Oh my gosh, Ginger. You do not have to do that. A 20 bomb from Ginger Prime. Jiminy Christmas. I think that's the first 20 bomb of the week. That is unbelievable, Ginger. Jiminy. Guys, I will be on his show tomorrow. Thank you so much. I will be on the roundtable tomorrow with Ginger. We'll probably be playing Soros after that. I want to keep making content with the game. I want to keep kind of showcasing the biomes and showcasing all the mechanics. So we'll probably be doing that after the roundtable tomorrow. No, he messed up when he switched from the rifle to the pistol. Oh, he was saying metaphorically he shot himself in the foot. He died because he switched to the pistol. Hilly says, that man has 26 kids to feed, and he still gifts. Absolute legend. I don't like the number 30, FYI. 30-day DRM check? What joke are you making? Welcome in, Kev. Thank you so much for renewing that membership. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys, if you have a membership that you're paying for, celebrate those renewals, man. They count towards the total. It was a figure of speech. Okay, I was like, I thought you said you died from shooting yourself in the foot. And I was like, what? I was like, I didn't know you could do that in this game. You're hyped for 007 next month. Yeah, next month's 007 and the Lego Batman game. Yeah, a lot of big games coming out. If you're not here for Lego Batman, then those who are going to keep it from getting slaughtered with lies and misinformation. I mean, I don't think that game is going to get lied on. I don't think so. This guy says, I stopped watching Mudahar a while ago because he was always spewing nonsense and will not correct himself. Listen, there's a lot of people who will say and they'll make false claims about me, and they'll misrepresent what I say and clip me out of context or twist my words. It happens all the time, right? They're never good faith. They're never intellectual or fair or charitable about it. It's always mean-spirited, right? It's always nasty. But I feel like I have very consistently circled back and been like, I was wrong. I got that wrong. We were wrong. Like, I will quickly say if we got something wrong or incorrect. And on that subject, that's why I'm not covering this DRM thing. And a Prime from Duke over there on purple, and then a gifted from Joker Quinn. Thank you, Joker Quinn. I was like, I'm not doing a video on this. We don't know enough. I'm not going to get people out here thinking things that aren't true about this. I need more information. We could have made a video that said, we don't know. Because, PlayStation needs to say something because they had 2 different responses from PlayStation Help. Savage Sharkbite with 56 months says, let's go. Thank you so much, Savage Sharkbite. I appreciate that very, very much. 007's looking a little bit more promising, but I still think it's too much like Hitman based on the clips and the videos. I hope we see a little bit more. I kind of hope it's like Pragmata, and it ends up looking like a game I'll enjoy, and maybe it ends up being a game I really like. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm hoping, because I didn't think I was gonna like Pragmata that much. You owe YouTube a member? Oh, I do. You're right. My bad, Jay. Good call. Good call. I owe YouTube a member for $2.50. I was so struck by it. We've gotten so long without a 20 bomb. I was stun locked by it. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button as well. 200 likes in the video. Thank you so much. Too many good things. Diablo 4 DLC, Saros, Lego Batman, Force 6. Oh, I think you're doing text to speech. I think you said Forza 6. Mini boss in Biome 3 skill checked me last night. Been thinking about it all morning. Now I want to leave early. Which mini boss? You talking about the guy with the lasers? The little the flying guy? He's freaking annoying. It's very much a Hitman game. Yeah, I mean, the 007 game does kind of look like a Hitman game. I think that's going to be a little bit unavoidable given the developers. And also, if we're honest, there's a lot of things that James Bond is going to do that are going to be very adjacent and similar to what a Hitman game is going to do. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to do similar stuff, They're going to have disguises, and they're going to break into places, and, there is definitely similarities there. So I'm not super surprised that we're seeing we're seeing those similarities given the developers, and then just given if you're making a Bond game. Let me say it this way. I actually think the 007 game has more potential by having a bit of an injection of like Hitman versus just being like let's be honest, GoldenEye was just a shooter. You just ran through and it was a shooter, and that's fine. I think that could have been good. But to me, it's like, I actually think a Bond game with a bit more of that like espionage, spy thriller, sneaking around, I think that could really, make the game more well-rounded instead of just being like, yeah, you're just running around shooting people. Like, that's not really what James Bond does either. He does get into shootouts and use and shoot, but like some of the best stuff that Bond does is when he's more, like in Casino Royale and stuff, when he's, he's playing the poker game and Mads Mikkelsen is there. It's like, I would say the injection of the Hitman DNA might be just what the doctor ordered. We don't want it to feel like a Hitman game LARPing as a 007 game, but we also didn't want another 007 game where it's just like, it's just a shooter. You're just running around shooting people. That's not going to feel like a Bond game. I mean, GoldenEye is a saintly game, right? It's in the Hall of Fame of games, historically speaking. Like that's a game that completely changed a lot of us into gamers. Like GoldenEye is the reason that I got into shooters, which is the reason that I got into Call of Duty, which is the reason that I got into Destiny. Like everything goes back to GoldenEye in the realm of shooters for a lot of us. But I don't want another 007 game that's basically just a shooter. I think that would have been a bit of a disappointment. All the character models on 007 seem like they make me think of plastic people. Dunno, just seems off to me. Yeah, Star Wars Galactic Racer has confirmed its October 2026 release date. There is a pre-order bundle. It looks pretty freaking cool. That game has such a vibe, and I don't even play games like that. And I want to play that Star Wars Galactic Racer game. GoldenEye being the biggest FPS on consoles before Halo shows how innovative Combat Evolved was. Being the biggest FPS on consoles. I think there were other FPS on consoles before Halo, though. In between GoldenEye and Halo, I think there were a lot. I think Halo was just the one that became, brand synonymous for Xbox, and also it was pivotal. But Halo was... I'm not having that debate again. I don't... I think in the history of shooters, there was very little innovation there at all. It was basically just doing what had already been happening on PC for a very long time. It was great that they brought it to console, but I don't know. I think people really overplay that hand. It was the game. It was. But I don't know if I would give it a bunch of innovation credit. Do you think we'll ever get a complete Star Wars overhaul for Crimson Desert? Oh, you talking about performance-wise? I don't know. They seem to have really moved away. Unreal Tournament was before Halo. Yeah, we've had this debate before, and I really upset the Halo boys and the Xbox boys by saying it, but it was just in the history of shooters, you guys are really overplaying that hand. The PC boys are like, what the frick are you talking about? At least they should be if they actually know their history. Team Fortress is more innovative and influential over everything we play today than Halo. I'm just saying the most popular and successful. Oh, yes, it was the most popular and successful on Xbox. That's undoubtable. That's undeniable, I should say. I'm not trying to deny that. People overstate, it was so innovative. I'm like, what? Apple didn't invent the smartphone. They made the smartphone mainstream. Yeah, I would say that's fair. If you want to talk about being more mainstream and being in front of more people, that game certainly did it on consoles, which paved the way for things like, Call of Duty and others. Not trying to debate, we can move on. No, Cool Spoon. I wasn't saying you were trying to debate. I was saying I don't want to debate this again. I was referring to an old debate. I wasn't directly talking about you. We had a long 45-minute row about this, and people got really upset and thought I was way out in left field. I'm like, I've been playing shooters since they were invented. That game didn't do anything special. It just went mainstream on console. It gave console something to ground its branding in, which is, it deserves credit for that. But yeah, I don't want to go through that again. Injustice 3 is rumored to be Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm's next fighting game. Thank you for the gifted membership. Yeah, no problem, Mick. I believe that one came from Ginger Prime. I love Team Fortress 2. It's what actually got me into PC gaming. I have over 1,000 hours in that game. Yeah, I mean, Doom, and then Quake, and then, the Team Fortress mods, and then Rocket Arena inside of Quake. I mean, there was a lot going on back then with Unreal Tournament as well, and then Call of Duty, that were light years ahead of anything Halo did. Halo just brought it to console and made it a mainstay. It was oh, wow. So Halo deserves credit for that. In the history of shooters, though, I think people really overestimate what it brought to the table. That's all. I think there's nuance to be had there. It's you want to give it credit for something, you can give it credit for those things. But the innovation within the shooter space, I don't think it's not at the front of the line. There's so many other shooters were there first. Youngins just don't understand. It does come down to that sometimes. There's a big difference between a successful shooter and the most innovative. Correct. Thanks for clarifying. I can't use those guns. Huh? Quake 2 and Half-Life on PC were such fun times. Oh, yeah, dude. Those are the days. Those are the days. Can you stop hating Bungie? Huh? We're not even talking about Bungie. What are you talking about? Plus the story, most FPSs didn't have story. The story Halo had. What's the... I'm sorry, what? In the grand history? Yeah, 2001. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. That's actually probably fair to say. In 2001, it was rare for a shooter to have like a really good story. Like Wolfenstein had a story. You know, Doom had a story. Like, they didn't really have stories. So that's probably fair to say that it was one of the first to really have a story. Because Call of Duty comes out in 2003, and that game's campaign was freaking nuts. Bungie did make Halo. Yeah, but we're not talking about Bungie. We're not talking about Bungie. We're talking about Halo. Like, I didn't say anything about Bungie. I was talking about Halo in the grand scheme of shooters. I wasn't speaking specific to Bungie. Halo's the most mainstream FPS ever in gaming. Are you feeling okay? That's like literally not true. Halo is the most see why I don't like having this debate, Cool Spoon? Do you see what it brings out of the woodwork? Do you see what happens? You talk about dual analog stick control. Dual analog stick control existed before Halo. You could do it in GoldenEye. They weren't the first to do it. There weren't controllers back then, and even GoldenEye did it before, and there weren't even controllers with 2 sticks yet. And you could do it. You could do it in GoldenEye. Hilly says, for the record, I didn't bring this up. Hilly's like, I just want the record to show that I didn't bring this up this time, dadgummit. The Halo boys get a little crazy. You think it's the most mainstream shooter ever? Brother, you're insane. Call of Duty is the most mainstream shooter in existence. You don't get more mainstream than Call of Duty in the realm of shooters. Like, come on, bro. Jiminy Christmas. You had to hold down R, I think, manually to aim in GoldenEye. No, you could use 2 joysticks. It was in the settings. A lot of people don't know this. You could literally use 2 controllers to play GoldenEye. You could. It was in the settings. Yeah. Not almost nobody did that. You had to press the C buttons. Yeah. No. You could literally go into the controls, and there was a control scheme in GoldenEye to use 2 Nintendo 64 controllers and use both joysticks. It was possible. Nobody did it. It was stupid. Nobody did it. It was dumb, but you could do it. They were the first. That was a thing? Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you could only do that if you were playing by yourself or just 1v1, because you would have 2 of the controllers eaten up. Yeah. See? You young bloods don't know as much as I do. I'm just kidding. Yo, Trey Gaming with 15 months. Let's add it to the total. We're 20 away from the next milestone. Somebody needs to match Ginger's energy and leapfrog us to 275, because boy, do we need it. We are behind, boys. Trey Gaming says, they talked about the stupid DRM situation all day yesterday. Today, the Microsoft financials hit, and those same shills, crickets, Lamau, love the content. Thank you, Trey. I am taking the path of peace, Trey Gaming. I'm just saying, listen, if you want to talk, come on the show and talk. If you want to defend Xbox, defend Xbox. You want to bash PlayStation, just come on the show and do it. If you want to bash me, that's not the same. I have no interest in talking to people like that. But I'll talk to people that are all the way going hard in the paint for whatever brand they love. I don't freaking care. Yo, Matt Baggs comes in with 52 months and a VIP, and he says, good morning, Lono. I used your glasses code over the weekend to snag my second pair. Got the Inferno this time. Oh, thank you. I'm trying to get some new frames from them. I can't get a response from the guy in charge. DMing on Twitter is an absolute joke now. You almost never get responses. It's truly terrible. It went from being like the best place to stay in contact with people to literally being the worst. Halo's issue is that the games became so few and far between, it didn't let it grow and iterate. Well, when you look at COD being every year, Halo should be every other. Yeah, I mean, it got to the point where it felt like the weapons and the enemies in Halo didn't change enough. I mean, that was always my frustration with it, but, you know. I've never been a big Halo guy. And the big Halo guys, they get a little crazy. When you talk about Halo, they get a little crazy. Hilly can testify, you know. COD as a commercial enterprise blows Halo out of the water, but Halo existed in the air before big money investors. This is true. Yo, Dirge with a gifted member gets us to 257. Thank you, Dirge. How many consoles did Halo sell? How about the first Call of Duty? How many consoles did that sell? You all sound stupid to a 50-year-old? I mean, if you think what you just said sounds smart, you're going to have to help us understand why it's smart. I don't understand what you're saying. Nobody was measuring the success of the games based on how many consoles they sold. He said that Halo was the most mainstream shooter in existence. That simply isn't true. It isn't. The most mainstream shooter is undeniably Call of Duty. And the first Call of Duty was only on PC. So, like, you're not comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing an Apple to a Toyota. Like, the comparison doesn't even make any sense. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Every time Halo comes up, we get wild takes about that franchise. COD was never an iconic IP of a console. Okay. Neither was Warcraft. Are you going to argue that World of Warcraft probably isn't considered the most mainstream MMO in existence? It was never iconic to a console, but in the franchise conversation that we were talking about, in the genre conversation we were talking about, we weren't talking about being iconic to the console. Halo was for sure a major milestone in the shooter, but COD takes the crown. Yeah, I've never denied that it did not put shooters into a fantastic lane. Halo set the runway, and then COD became the god. Like, it's just undeniable. Like, Call of Duty became like a global phenomenon. Like, it's not in the amount of revenue one franchise has generated versus another. They're not even comparable. Like, Halo set everything up. This is true. It wasn't this insanely innovative shooter. It wasn't. In the history of shooters, it was not insanely innovative. It did things that had been happening on PC for years. The stuff that they did had been happening on PC for years. They just brought it to console, and they slowed the game way down because you had to play it with joysticks instead of a mouse, so the game was incredibly slow. So they had to slow it all the way down. That's great. Who was saying innovative? The same person that said it was the most mainstream shooter ever said it was like one of the most innovative shooters. And I'm like, I don't know why people get on these weird like declarations about Halo. Like, you can give it its flowers and be like, listen, it brought shooters to the console in a way that didn't exist up to that point. But beyond that point, it's like COD's the most mainstream, and in the realm of most innovative, from Wolfenstein to like Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament, like light years of advancements happened within third-person video games. Not third-person, I'm sorry, three-dimensional video games and shooting. We went from like flat sprites that rotated with you, like in Wolf 3D, to like literal 3D models in Quake 3. Like, so much happened in that span of time that was massively innovative within the shooting space. Yeah, and exactly. A lot of people don't even know about Tribes. Tribes had so much in it that ended up getting almost carbon copied. Like, there were things happening in Tribes and other shooters on PC well before that game ever hit the market. I don't know why people always insist that Halo is just... I think what it is like you just weren't in the world that I was in. I was on PC, and then the first time I looked at Halo, I was like, I thought it was the most boring game I'd ever seen, because I had been playing shooters on PC for years before that. Yeah, I'm not even talking about critical acclaim either, Paul. Nobody's going to deny that it was not a critically acclaimed franchise. It has high Metacritic scores across the board. From Halo to Halo 3, from Halo to Halo Reach, they were very consistently topping charts, and everybody loved it. But to say it's the most mainstream shooter ever, I mean, come on, man. That just isn't true. It just isn't true. I think multiple convos are getting conflated. I was only responding to the hyperbolic statements that it was one of the most innovative shooters and that it's the most mainstream shooter. And it's like, it was neither of those things. It's neither of those things. You're giving it the wrong award. You can give it plenty of accolades and awards. It's one of the most critically acclaimed shooters. It was one of the most consistent shooters with respect to critical acclaim and popularity, and it had a wonderful trajectory from 2001 to 2010. They were on just a great run. They did. They had like a decade-long great run as a franchise. They deserve all the credit for that. They deserve credit for bringing first-person shooters to console in a way that was more palatable to console users, and it made it central to an entire brand. That's why the way it got treated, that's why the way Halo Infinite got treated, the way 343 got treated, that should have been something that just made Xbox fans incensed. They should have been incensed when they read that Bloomberg report. There should have been pitchforks from Microsoft. This is freaking Halo that we're talking about. My boomer dad bought an Xbox for the OG Halo. I loved it, but never played another video game after that. He didn't even know that you could fight other players in that game. The original Halo trilogy has global cultural praise and appeal. It was also the game that set the standard control scheme for FPS on controller. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, give it credit for those things. Trying to claim it's like one of the most innovative shooters? No, it's not. It literally is almost completely derivative. In its initial state, it's almost completely derivative. It's literally borrowing from games that had been out prior to its release. And it's also not the most mainstream shooter. Like, saying those things about it are just, you're trying to give it accolades that it's not worthy of wearing. I don't agree with innovative. I can argue for mainstream. It was Michael Jackson and COD's Taylor Swift. Wait, COD came so shortly after, though. COD 1's 2003. That's only 2 years after Combat Evolved. I don't know. We'd have to go back and look at the sales. I don't know when COD hit its fever pitch, but man, COD's out at the exact same time, basically. When did COD 2 come out? COD 2 release date. Yeah, COD 2 was 2005. COD 3 was 2006. Call of Duty was having the same rise during the same time. Taylor Swift is a massive enterprise, but she doesn't have as much influence as Michael did in his era. What do you mean? Call of Duty was growing and rising at the exact same time. It's the exact same 10-year span. Now, Call of Duty, when did it finally come to console? I don't actually remember. I remember playing World at War on the 360 and Modern Warfare 4 on the 360. I don't know what Call of Duty's launch on console looked like. I was playing it on PC. I don't know. Call of Duty was launching in the same 10-year time span. And to argue that it didn't influence shooters as much, that's kind of wild to think. It was Call of Duty 2, wasn't it? The second Call of Duty, I thought, came to console. I think the first one came later, like as a port. But like, I don't think we actually had simultaneous COD releases on console until like Call of Duty 2 or 3 or something like that. Yeah, the first COD was PC only. I thought they eventually brought COD 1 to console later as like a port. But as far as like simultaneous releases, I think it was like COD 2 or 3. You aren't getting the analogy I'm making. I'm saying Cheers took up more space in the zeitgeist than the modern show does now because Cheers had so much less competition. It's about timing. Oh, I see what you're saying, Zubair. I see what you're saying. Wheezy says Call of Duty is inarguably the most important FPS in the past 30 years. I I always think we're never going to see eye to eye on this because Halo fans, they feel like Halo was like transformative and innovative and crazy. And those of us that have been playing like Wolf 3D and Doom and Quake 2 and Quake 3, we looked at Halo and we were like, what the frick is this? We were like, this is old. This looks old and slow. It made no sense to us. So when someone has high praise, they're like, it was innovative and it was insanely influential. Us guys back then on PC were like, this game looks boring. I had to be convinced by the guys in the dorms in college to play it because I thought it was boring. I was like, I'd rather play Quake or Unreal Tournament. Did any COD outsell Halos 1 through 3? I don't know. Again, conflating multiple issues. Halo was a dumbed-down version, but the dumbing down was perfect for console, and it made huge waves in gaming. That's what I've always said. They brought shooters to console in a way that was pivotal for Xbox as well as for Halo, and it deserves total credit for that. But when you want to talk about how it was one of the most innovative shooters, I'm like, what? Or it's the most mainstream shooter. I'm like, what are you talking about? Neither of those things, I think, are measurably true. Like, the most mainstream shooter is so clearly Call of Duty, and the most innovative, it didn't do anything. You could talk about, like, the dual joysticks, but that's a control setup. That's not innovation, that's adaptation. Like, they'd adapted it to that control setup. Is simplifying successfully innovation? I mean, no, I don't think so. Innovation's the practical implementation of new ideas, methods, products, or processes that create value. Stripping and slowing something down so that it can work on controller, I guess you could say that's a new method. I don't know. You could say in that realm it was innovative, and because of that, it paved the way for other console shooters. You know? It's just, my mind thinks innovation is like you're breaking new ground. You're doing something that's never been done before, and I guess you could say that's literally what Halo did. It brought shooters to console in a ways that had never been done before. And if that's what you mean by innovative, then by all means you can say it. But usually when people say that, I'm thinking like features, movement, game modes, guns, and it's like nothing in that realm was innovative. It was all stuff that had existed before. James Wolfgang with 47 months on a member plus. CSGO is the best FPS ever. Go sell your knife skins before value crashes the market again. I said we were going to debate this, and we're debating it. Do you see what you did, Cool Spoon? This is all your fault. I want everybody to blame Cool Spoon for this. 007 GoldenEye. GoldenEye didn't do it to the degree and to the scale that Halo did. You can't say that. It just didn't. And arguably, if you had only ever played on console, Halo was impressive. Because you'd only played games like Time Splitters and GoldenEye. You had never played anything like Halo with the movement and the joysticks. Like that was genuinely, for many people, like transformative. I grew up on CSGO, Unreal, Quake. Halo was just boring AF in comparison. Yeah, Wheezy and I are brothers from another mother in this regard. Like, that's why we always agree on this. It's like, if you grew up on Wolfenstein, Doom, Quake, and Unreal Tournament, you looked at Halo for 5 minutes and you're like, this is geriatric. What is this? It just didn't make any sense to us because we're moving with the mouse. You know, I'm snap flick aiming with rail guns in Quake, and you're like, red team has the flag. It's like, what the heck is this? See last comment. It was impactful because it saturated a new user base, says AOZ. It's about as innovative as Expedition 33 was, but people that hadn't played shooters first thought it was groundbreaking. I think AOZ is making a really, really good, like, analogy. A lot of people had never really thought turn-based games were worth a darn, and then they played Expedition 33. And then there were all the turn-based RPG fans that were like, Expedition 33 is stupid. It doesn't do anything new. They didn't understand why it was getting the quote-unquote glazing. If you guys are tuning in for the GTA 6 release date news, you can ask about it. We talk about a variety of topics here. We don't stay locked onto one topic. So we got on to the Halo debate. If you're enjoying the debate, the back and forth, if you're also enjoying the fact that I keep it safe for work, you can listen Monday through Friday. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following the channel. We are working on a pretty big member goal every week that is that's becoming a little bit more challenging to hit. So make sure you're checking your primes on Purple. Make sure you're renewing your memberships on YouTube. And if you've never done one before, consider it. It's $5 a month, and it's how I do this full time. I don't say that lightly. That is literally how we do this. And we are hoping we see more and more folks catch that vision. I didn't think about that. Maybe Good Copium, Quake, Unreal, SOCOM, Duke Nukem, Outrigger. I forgot about Duke Nukem. Yeah, Duke Nukem was so freaking cool. I remember the first time I played that game, it blew my dadgum mind. It would the gun and the way that it handled just felt so freaking cool. I was like, oh my gosh. I played that with my buddy and at his house on his computer. That was the first time I saw Half-Life. We played Sam and Max Hit the Road. Yeah. See My Last says Reverted Cloud. Reverted Cloud says Halo Combat Evolved had like 6 mods for multiplayer where COD had 1 at the time. Had more, and that's why people look at it that way. Yeah, but again, if you're coming from PC land, none of that's impressive. None of that's impressive. Like you're coming from PC land. You're coming from Rocket Arena and Team Fortress and Capture the Flag and Instagib, and you know what I'm saying? Like if you come from PC land, the game having all those modes, I think you meant to put modes, not mods. The game having all those modes just was not impressive. No, we didn't play Leisure Suit Larry. Wheezy says, sorry, I grew up with games that required more aiming and skills than Grandpa's first shooter. No, and I agree with that. Cooler Creations, that's why I think Halo fans should be more specific in their praise for Halo. It arrived on the Duke controller. It had the offset sticks. The industry thought FPS couldn't work on a console. They deserve credit for that. That's where that again, the idea like, oh, it's the most innovative and oh, it's the most mainstream shooter. It's like, slow down. Gone Kid, when will you be Lono's guest? Also funny because Expedition 33 didn't do anything new either. Action turn-based RPG has been a thing. I don't think and here's the difference though, Gone Kid. When I praise Expedition 33, I don't say that it's the most innovative, and I certainly would never say it's the most mainstream turn-based RPG. That we all know that's probably going to go to Final Fantasy. But the fact of the matter is that I loved it and it made it fun. And the presentation and the art style absolutely won me over. But you'll never hear me running around saying that Expedition 33 is the most innovative turn-based game ever. I would never say that. I would never say it's the most mainstream turn-based game ever. I would never say that because I know that's not true. Within the history of that genre, I know that's ludicrous to claim. As it is ludicrous to claim about Halo being the most mainstream shooter. It just isn't. Nova says, Halo also brought the cinematic experience akin to Metal Gear Solid, so it took some very popular ingredients and put them together in a console launch title. It was kind of the perfect storm. Yeah, if you hear people talk about Master Chief and they talk about like the story in Halo, it blew them away. And again, if you're in PC land, you're kind of like, yeah, we've kind of already been playing games like this. You know what I mean? We had been playing games like Half-Life and others. I'm trying to think of games back before 2001. That's obviously hard for me to do. That's like, 27, 28 years ago. Story-driven games before 2001 were not super common. So as a company, when allocating resources, why not give all the resources of the most mainstream FPS that you now own over some slow FPS like Halo? Well, I personally think Halo can have its Doom moment. Guys, double check that it saved your like. Likes are stalled a teeny bit. Every once in a while we have to do this. Like YouTube's being funny sometimes. Double check that thumbs up is saving your likes and working. Medal of Honor was like late 90s. Yeah, when was the worst? Also like Soldier of Fortune release date. When was that? Yeah, Soldier of Fortune predates Halo, and that I remember that had a really cool story. Medal of Honor 1 was 1999. So yeah, we're playing games like Medal of Honor and Soldier of Fortune and Half-Life. And then people are like, oh, but this Halo game. And we were all like, huh? Like, it didn't speak to us that way because it felt like old news to a certain degree. We had already been playing shooters with crazy mechanics. And, like, Soldier of Fortune, you could, like, literally shoot limbs off. Like, in 2000, 26 years ago. Soldier of Fortune was, at some degree, like, way ahead of its time. So we would play that, and then we would look at Halo, and we were like, what are you guys all excited about? It didn't make any sense to us. We had gone through an insane evolution of the first-person shooter. We went from Wolfenstein 3D to Soldier of Fortune shooting limbs off in a very, very short span of time. Max Payne? What was Max Payne's original release date? Max Payne was 2001, so it was around the same time as Halo 1. Y'all are forgetting about Dig Dug. Wolf 3D was 1992. So in the span of 8 years, we went from Wolfenstein 3D to Soldier of Fortune. I mean, in 8 years' time, that's the length of the... Okay, I want you to imagine. That's the length of time that, like, a console generation typically lasts. And I want you to look at Soldier of Fortune versus Wolfenstein 3D. Right? Soldier of Fortune. Let me see if I can get a screenshot of Soldier of Fortune. It was pretty dadgum advanced for the time. So I want you to imagine in 8 years' time, I want you to imagine a console generation going from looking like this to looking like this. I don't care about Metacritic, Paul. That's not what we're talking about. You keep screenshotting Metacritic like you're making an argument. You're banned from doing that for the rest of the day. It's obnoxious. We're talking about innovation within the space of first-person shooters, not freaking Metacritic scores. Like, imagine opening up a gen and your games look like this, and then by the end of the console gen, your games look like this. This is what happened in 8 years' time. They're awful games. I don't give a frick about your opinion about the games, Paul. You're not engaging in the dadgum conversation. We're talking about innovation within first-person shooters. When I went from playing Wolfenstein, and it looked like this, to being able to shoot people's heads off, that was a significant jump. This is literally 8 years' time. And that's why when we looked at Halo, we were like, huh? Like, that's what we experienced on PC. I don't care about the Metacritic scores. It was like, this was insane that we were able to do this. Awful graphics? Homie, that's a 27-year-old game. That's like a 26-year-old game. Of course the graphics look bad. Anything, well, not bad. They looked great at the time. Going from VHS to DVT kind of a thing. That's what I'm saying. In 8 years' time, that's what was experienced on PC. That is what I experienced in my home. I went from like flat 2D sprite, enemies to 3D enemies to 3D environments to fast environments to rail guns to vehicles to capture the flag to instagib, like in 8 years' time. So from the time that I was 10 to the time that I was 18, it was like everything in that realm completely changed. And then I remember walking into a guy's dorm room and he was like, you want to play some Halo? And I was like, that game? Like, it would, as a PC gamer, you were like, huh? It just didn't speak to us. Yo, thank you, Broken Earth, for gifting a member, and it goes to Street Shadow. And Broken Earth gifts another one and rounds us out to 260. We're 15 away from 275. It says, I'm 28. I must look like trash. Those 27-year-old graphics are making fire indie games. You remember Hitman? Codename 47? Mm-hmm. Chase with 42 months of memberships. Thank you so much. If GTA Trailer 3 drops next month before the earnings call, do you expect pre-orders to go live during the summer PR campaign? Love is a long, long road. Yeah, I do. I expect that. Yes. The vehicles in Halo were dope. They were. For console, it was a huge leap for console. It was. I will never deny that. I'm just trying to give grounds for why the guys that were on PC that had been playing since Wolfenstein 3D all the way to Doom and Quake and Medal of Honor and Soldier of Fortune, like, we never once looked at Halo and thought it was anything special because it didn't feel like advanced anything. It felt like it had regressed. It really, really did. And the reason it had to regress is because they were taking something that you could play on a PC with a mouse and keyboard. I mean, and we were doing things called strafe jumping in Quake 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we were doing. And then we see that game, it looked geriatric to us. We were like, huh? I'm not condemning the game or criticizing it. I'm trying to explain why we were never impressed at that point in time. At 2001, I'm out of high school, and I've been playing shooters since they were born. And I looked at that game and thought, this is geriatric. This is boring. Why does anybody like this? It didn't make any sense to me. The only people who had Halo back then, Job, is because they were like in the dorms. That was it. Thank you, Helio Lima, for adding their member to the total. A Prime resub for 5 months. Thank you. To many, it felt like a step back. This is why I think when this debate happens, people think I'm just being a hater. They can't conceive of anybody being, like, unimpressed by Halo back then. And I'm like, if you were coming from PC, it was not impressive. Why are you saying not to pre-order Star Wars Galactic Racers? I was saying I'm trying to resist the urge to not pre-order. I'm not campaigning against it. I wasn't being negative. Like, if you think this is me campaigning to not pre-order Galactic Racer with a sweaty emoji, this is just such a vibe. This is a vibe, dude. Like, I don't play racing games, and this game has got my attention. It just looks fun. It looks lighthearted and Star Wars. I'm not like campaigning against it. Well, we have a hype train on purple. Everyone hating on Xbox, but Microsoft could literally not make a single dollar for 50 years and still be worth more than Sony. What does that have anything to do with games and you playing them? That would be like saying Amazon doesn't have to make another single dollar and they'll have way more money than name other random non-Leviathan company. Who cares about that? I'm sure the second largest company in the world will be fine. Remember, Windows is used for all game development, period. They win. I will never understand why people type things like that and think it means anything. Like, what? What are you even... Why are you cheering for the revenue of, like, the biggest company in the world? And Mooku comes in with a 20 bomb right after Wired Rope's 5 bomb, and we're off to the races. 287 on the week. That's a big one. Twitch might be saving the week again, although it's 44-38. It's a pretty good neck and neck race today. I don't understand why people have that energy about Microsoft. They're like one of the biggest companies in the world. Like, who the frick cares if they make a lot of money? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that, and again, we've been talking about like the history of Halo and shooters, and I'm trying to offer perspective as to why a PC gamer back then, I was playing PC games from like mid-90s to into the 2000s, why I was not impressed by Halo. I'm just trying to explain why that is. I'm not bashing the game, although that will certainly what people interpret this to be, who always have to interpret what I say as like bashing Xbox. The thing with Xbox and the earnings call, it's a wake-up call if you think any of the vague nonsense that Asha Sharma has said in the last 60 days. Mooku with the Member Plus over there on YouTube as well, double dipping. Thank you, sir. If you take any of her generic nonsense statements to mean that they're going to go back to exclusives and they're going to prioritize hardware and they're going to get back in the console fight, all you got to do is look at the results. And Lone Wolf adds a 5 bomb over there on Twitch and gets us to 293. Keeps the hype train going. What level hype train now? Level 6 achieved. So we're halfway to the... What's the record on the channel? Where does it show us the record? I wish... It's so hard to find... The channel record is level 17. 19%. If you guys want to go crazy and break the record, everybody head to Twitch. She legit said a bunch of nothing. That's what I'm saying, like... Okay, do you think it's a coincidence that she said all that when they knew what the earnings call was going to unveil? You think it's a coincidence? You think it's a coincidence that they... Yeah, we're level 7 right now on the hype train. The record is 17. So, this would be a great week to break the record. We need it. What happened with Microsoft? I was busy playing Star Wars and I missed it. They had their earnings report, and the hardware is down like 30-something% year over year. Gaming and services revenue is down. And I think she said all this stuff because they knew the earnings call was going to look pretty dire. And they have literally said out loud, both her and Satya have now echoed, we got to win the fans back. We got to win them back. I'm just here to tell you, I just don't see how they're going to do it. I don't see exclusives doing it. I don't see their hardware doing it. There's no path for them to go back to what they did in the 360 era. I don't see it. I would be behind them, and I would be cheering them on if Asha Sharma walked out today and said, introducing the next Xbox. Helix is going to be for high-end users. We want to stay in the console space. We want to have a killer box that features next-gen graphics and next-gen games, and we're going to do that with killer exclusives. I'd be like, I'm behind you. Do it. Rally the base. Shake up the industry. Get folks believing in the brand again. I'd be right there behind her. I would be one of her biggest cheerleaders. I'd be like, do it. Bring the dadgum heat. Because you didn't do it this gen. I don't see how they're going to do it. I don't see how Microsoft or shareholders or board level people or executive level people or Satya, I don't see them greenlighting any of that because it's a massive risk. That's millions, if not billions of dollars of risk that could go nowhere. They could land in the same boat. They could end up with a bunch of games and a console that's not moving enough units. And they can end up with games that are now locked to a platform that didn't do very well, and now they're in the same boat of like, well, now we have to port these games to other platforms to get return on investment. Like I would be right there behind her if that's what she was doing. I don't think that's the goal. I don't think you bring her in to do that. If they were going to do that, you'd have used Phil Spencer. You'd have used Phil Spencer. That's what Phil Spencer was trying to do. That's why when they got ZeniMax, he was like, everything going forward is an exclusive. And the CEO was like, everything? Wow. It was no longer case by case, which is what they told the European regulators. Were completely untrue, by the way. That was an absolute rug pull. They buy ZeniMax saying, we'll handle games on a case-by-case basis. They get the company, and Phil Spencer's like, yeah, everything going forward is an exclusive. If you were going back to exclusives, if you were going back to a console-centric strategy and not a publishing strategy, not a software-driven strategy, you wouldn't have gotten rid of Phil Spencer. You'd have walked him out, put him in an awesome jacket, you'd had Sarah Bond next to him, looking as Sarah Bond as ever, and they'd have been like, we're returning to our roots. Introducing the next Xbox. That's what they would have done. You don't bring in Asha to do that. It would be, it doesn't make business sense at this point. I don't think they can justify the amount of capital it would take to do that. And if it blows up in their face, their hardware is in such a bad spot right now. Year over year, just every year like clockwork, down, 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 down. They don't really have another another plan or another shot. And the hype train's come to an end over there on purple. Thank you so much, boys. Everyone Xbox hires is hot. Sarah Bond, now Asha Sharma. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. High-level executive women, at least in my experience, are commonly very attractive. I think it's an asset. I think it helps. I think I've noticed that with men as well, a lot of the times. Not like Bobby Kotick, obviously, but like Phil Spencer was a good-looking guy. I think it helps. I think when you're a good-looking person, it helps in the corporate world. It makes you more likable. People want to be around you. People want to see you, succeed. They're like, I like that person, There's all kind of psychology behind it, like, why newscasters are attractive, and yeah. We play Soros? Yes. The long gameplays are fun. I'm enjoying it too. You're not the only one, old dad gamer. I'm glad somebody else said it. I'm not saying that. True, you don't see fancy. It's rare. It's rare to see somebody in a high-level executive position. Look at Strauss Zelnick. You know what I'm saying? It's very common when you see people at these high-level positions, like, you know what I'm saying? They usually have, like, very symmetrical faces. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two. Like, I don't think it's unusual for high-level executive people to be attractive. Like, I don't think it's unusual. I think it's a very, very common thing. It gives them an injection of like automatic charisma and likability. Like if you're in the room and you got Sarah Bond talking, everybody's going to pay attention and listen. Why? She's attractive. She's good looking. It's going to happen. That's just the way we're wired. It happens in high school. It happens in the corporate world. The good looking people tend to be more popular. They just do. What the frig are we talking about? What? Why executives tend to be attractive people? I'm not kidding you. There's literal human psychology behind it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Raul Coley is at a GameStop. He used to stock shelves at GameStop. Now he's on them. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at him. He's the lead in the game. He's attractive. He's a good-looking man. I was joking about it the other day. We pulled up the picture of him and Alana, and I was like, I looked at him first. I looked at him first. Sorry, Alana. He's a stud. Jim Ryan's attractive? No, I wouldn't say that. I didn't say it's every single time. I'm saying it's common. It's common. Yeah. If you look in the executive realm and you look at high-level executive people and leaders, a lot of the times they're good looking. It's probably more common if it's a woman that she's an absolute baddie. Men, not so much. They can be a bit of a bull, and they can be a bit of a pushy person, and that's how they get in their position. They're more disagreeable. They're more apt to like negotiate better pay and fight for a raise and fight for a promotion. You know, there's more of a tenacity and an aggression, you know, if on the psychological spectrum of differences between men and women. But yeah, that's very common. I think so. Herman's not attractive? I think Herman's a good-looking dude. I think it's very common. You can have charisma without being pretty. I have some experience in these matters. This is true. Zubair is our frumpy Raul Coley, right? We have our own Raul here. Zycon with a Prime. 10 months. Thank you so much for using your Prime sub over there, sir. If I punch my boss, will I get a raise? No, I don't think so. No. She had a good spawn, attractiveness, born rich, Ivy League educated, worked at a prestigious firm. Well, yeah, you think about it when you apply for a job, or you apply to be on a team, or you want to be included in a project, or you want to get a grant, or you want to be included in something, right? It's going to be a huge buff if you're attractive. If you're unattractive, that's a bit of a debuff. You know what I mean? Bro, Raul's average? I don't agree with that at all. If your boss is ugly, then yes. Yeah, if your boss is ugly, it's open season. Just punch them. You'll be fine. Nobody will believe them. They'll be like, you probably had it coming. That's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. Yeah, you can always try the Fight Club method and just punch yourself a bunch of times. You know? That could always work. People's about to ask if ugly people have bones. Oh, that was one of the funniest streams of my life. All right, hang on a second. What is this? Okay. Okay. I hope a lot of you are chicks rating men like this. He was great in Midnight Mass. He was great in Midnight Mass. He was. What was the other one? They did those scary ones. They had all those really good scary shows on Netflix. Those haunting shows. He was in The Haunting of Bly Manor as well. I liked him in that. He wasn't in that. I don't feel like he was in that as much as he was in Midnight Mass. The Haunting of Hill House as well. He was in that. I really liked those movies. I thought he was great in those. He was in Midnight Mass, I think, quite a bit more. He was more of a main character. Lona with the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, Riz. Huh? These are Dahmer? I've got Dahmer glasses, but they're black. They're a lot bigger than this. These don't strike me as the Dahmer glasses. He was in Fall of House of Usher. Oh, that was one that Creature told me to watch. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button if you've been watching for a while. Guys, double check that you've done the thumbs up. It does help me out, and thank you so much for doing that. Let's see here. Checking the news feeds. We talked about GTA 6. Why is this guy saying yikes about Pragmata? Pragmata sold 14,000 physical units on its Switch 2 launch in Japan. It sold another 12,000 units on PS5 to be the number 2 best-selling game in Japan this week. What? That's not a yikes. I don't understand. The game's doing well. Not Dahmer, 1980s dad glasses. There were glasses look like this in the 80s? I don't think so. Yeah, the Clayface movie looks kind of crazy. Glasses in the 80s for men. Yeah, I think you guys have really... a lot of you guys don't seem like you were actually from that era of time. I have literally a pair of these upstairs. From Gamer Advantage. They look almost exactly like that. Like, this is the 80s style of glasses. What I'm wearing now, I don't think is considered like an 80s style. Or like big, thick horned rim glasses were popular in the 80s as well for men. I think some of you guys think you know what the 80s were like, and some of us actually lived it. Did you get the true ending? Yes, Hotshot, I did. I did all of the challenges and got the true ending in Pragmata, and I really, really liked it, and I really encourage everybody to do that. Yeah. I thought that the extra boss challenges in Pragmata played particularly well if you were a really exhaustive player, and you were really strong. It made a huge, huge difference. 3 hours of 007 Light convinced me it's a genuine Game of the Year contender and maybe the best Bond game yet. So, Andy Robinson of VGC, I really trust him, by the way. VGC is an independent outfit, and they are crowd supported and crowd funded. I like Andy and the team over there at VGC. He's saying that the Bond game's a Game of the Year contender. So, he's got high praise for it after just 3 hours. A bunch of previews just hit. Playing 007 First Light makes me wonder if it's actually possible to nail James Bond, but developer IOI has made a cracking attempt, so they seem to like it as well. Games Radar says, explosive action, creative bluffs, and cinematic storytelling. The Hitman developer might have made the best Bond game ever. Everybody seems to be saying it's the best Bond game. PC Gamer, after 3 hours with 007 First Light, IO's weaknesses are on display in a way they haven't been since Hitman Absolution. Are they praising it? James Bond, spy lover, connoisseur, obsessive hand sanitizer collector. Hang on. Let me just get their conclusion. They got me with their mystery gap. Congratulations. I'm reading their article and getting inundated with ads. When it ended, I was back to gunfights and fistfights and finishing sequences in which I plowed a garbage truck through this. I didn't feel control much of anything. On the surface, Bond might seem a natural fit for I.O., all glitz and gadgets that make it feel like barely a skip away from the world of Hitman. But what I saw had me feeling that the studio has not leaned into its strengths, trading the absurd clockwork worlds of Agent 47 for a more tightly choreographed, linear, and cinematic game. So they seem to think it's too choreographed and too cinematic. PC Gamer didn't like it. I feel like PC Gamer has been a little bit more critical of games as of late. PC Games N, a completely different outfit, says 007 First Light perfectly balances Hitman sandbox freedom with James Bond's spectacle. So most of the ones we're reading here seem to really like it, and PC Gamer seems to not. Let's see what Push Square has to say. The simulation's restraint is admirable. While the spectacle exists in pivotal moments, the simulation emphasizes deliberation and decision-making, patience, debrief conclusion. Based on initial exposure, 007 First Light shows clear potential. The simulation is not a straightforward action experience, but something more considered. A systems-driven interpretation of what it means to be 007. I'm not convinced I fully understood it yet. I've certainly not earned the number. But that, I believe, will come. Why do they keep referring to it as a simulation? Did they let AI write their article? Multiple times their article is referring to it as a simulation. It's a video game. The frick? That literally sounds like a computer trying to try to talk about a video game. Yo, Smooth Papa comes in with the Prime sub. Thank you so much, and gets us at 295. We are exactly 5 members away from 300, and it's tied 45 to 45. Who's going to steal this one? Not just take the lead, but steal the gifted member. Could it kind of be like Indiana Jones? I think it looks a lot more action-oriented than Indiana Jones. Like, as far as, like, there's these big cinematic... It feels a little bit more like Uncharted and Hitman had a baby. Not so much... Like, Indiana Jones was not enough Uncharted, in my opinion. I know people liked it. I'm not criticizing it. For me, I thought it needed to be more like Uncharted. But I think they wanted to avoid the Uncharted comparisons, so they went in a very, very different route. Somebody just left a comment on my Saros video. It says, I finished it, both ending, over 30 hours. I played all the way through without using any modifiers at all, good or bad. It was pretty much perfectly challenging, and I still have the ability to go through it again with trials on. Yeah, see, that's somebody with experience who played without the modifiers, and it took them over 30 hours. That's exactly what I was expecting. Of course, they're praising it. They need those early copies. I'm going to wait for YouTubers I trust, as well as focusing on performance. Well, I mean, yes. I think it's fair to be a little bit more skeptical of previews, because previews trend in the positive direction. I think it's fair to be skeptical of previews that are positive. But I also think that, you know, PC Gamer was being pretty critical. You know. Despite the live-action James Bond reported toils, 007 First Light said working with Amazon MGM was actually surprisingly straightforward. Oh, that's good. You never want that to be what holds a game back. Yeah. Lona, have you ever played a musical instrument? I played the trumpet and the baritone, and baritone was like a smaller version of like a tuba. I think that's what it was called, a baritone. Isn't that what it was called? I played it in 5th grade. That was a lifetime ago. And then the drums. I played a little piano, actually. Maddie plays in PlayStation Access. Both dropped 007 previews, so I'm covered for who I trust. Yeah, I think you can trust what Maddie says. I think he's usually pretty balanced. If he sees a problem or doesn't like something, he'll tell you. One of the advantages to getting to a size like that is if he's a little critical and they decide not to give him a review copy, he'll be just fine. He's like, that's fine. Like, that gives him the freedom to be, you know, not worrying about all that. Oboe bassoon? No. What's it called? Yeah, it's called a baritone horn. Yeah, it looks like this. Yeah. For a 5th grader, it was enormous. You know, it's on the lower end. Yeah. It's a baritone. Yeah. I remember carrying it down the hallway like I had to lean. It was so heavy and so freaking enormous. I would have to walk down the hallway in school like leaning, carrying it. I had this big brown case with like duct tape on the corners because we had to buy it used. Yeah. Yo, Leon 086 using their Prime over there on Purple. Thank you so much. For you right now, it's enormous too. That's true, Wheezy. Yeah. And for you, it's probably like, you'd probably think it's fake. I mean, I would think that... You know what I'm saying? Shut up, effer, he says. For 5'6". I was a short 5th grader, y'all. I know that's hard to believe. I'm such a giant now. But yeah, I was a short 5th grader, boys. Carrying that sucker down the hallways was a task. It was a task. Oh my golly. Smooth Jazz finally has his moment. Oh, in chat, Smooth Jazz says baritone and the euphonium are the mini tuba. Yep. I remember I had like a solo section in the song, and I had to go like, it was like, I had to do that like 3 times in a row, and everybody else was making no sound. Like the whole orchestra dropped out, and I had to do that. As a 5th grader, it was nerve-wracking. It stuck with me. I'm 44 years old, and I still remember that. Keep reading, he's a band teacher. Oh, he's a band teacher. Yeah. I went from trumpet to cornet to baritone. I don't know why. That's what happened. Yeah. And that's why Donald Trump is president. That's pretty much it, because I played the baritone in 5th grade. That set everything in motion. It set everything in motion to where we are today. It's idiotic. Baritones are smaller with a cylindrical bore. Euphonium is slightly larger with a conical bore. What's amazing about that sentence is there's at least 2 words. The 3 words. I have no idea what you're saying. You could literally be making words up right now. You could be like, yeah, it has this, phonetical crintal, and that basically helps you bend back the hyphen. And I'm like, oh, the hyphen. I know all about that. Surely. You should be making stuff up. And I'd be like, yeah, I knew that. I remember from 5th grade band, all that stuff. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right to me. Yeah. You gotta twist the Bunsen. Well, that's a Bunsen burner. Oh man, half the tech stuff I say, I make up words. Yeah, and most of it's just like, that sounds about right. There's a new version of path tracing. Did you crack the time-space continuum? Lono out here figuring out time travel? Mm-hmm. Was that movie good? I can't remember it now. The Butterfly Effect? Yeah, it was. Yeah, because that's like a serious role for him. And he, I think he kind of nailed it. You know what I mean? The Simpsons predicted that Lono would be doing this. It's true. And Alex is going to land the plane and be an agent of chaos. Thank you so much. A 5 bomb comes in for Team Purple. We're at 3:01 going into Friday. Gonna be a tough one. If you guys unlock Saturday night, you can then shoot for stretch, and we'll make Madam play Saros. It'll probably be hysterical. So, I think it'd be great if we could pull that off this week. We're going to need everybody to rally. We're really going to need to fight for it. Such a great movie. It is. I remember really liking it. Have you seen the trailer for the new Resident Evil movie? It's from the director of Weapons. I've not seen the trailer for it because I've been here hanging out with y'all. I think it came out while we were streaming. So, former EA, Microsoft, and Ubisoft devs open new studio making Project S. Okay. It's simply an inverted dominium chip. It allows for faster calculation of slow raster cubicles in 3D even. Yeah, see, I can tell that's fake. And then they made the Butterfly Effect sequel. Sometimes you just shouldn't make the sequel, you know? Sometimes you just shouldn't make the sequel. Let the first movie be the movie, you know what I mean? The trailer dropped? Yeah, a little bit ago. I saw it I was checking my news feeds. I saw it in my news feeds. If you guys haven't hit like yet, please consider hitting the like button over here on YouTube. I appreciate it so much. Or track with me here. We try to grab more cash. That's right. Why does the butterfly actor look like the guy who played Steve Jobs? because it's the guy who played Steve Jobs. That's Ashton Kutcher. He's not the only one who has played Steve Jobs. The other one who plays Steve Jobs is the guy who played Magneto. Dadgummit, his name just left my dadgum brain. I will not look at chat. Fassbender. Michael Fassbender. Or Fassbender, however you say it. Yeah. I'm at that age now where when I can't think of a name of somebody, I want to think of it on my own, and I don't want to be told. It's very frustrating. It is. That's something that has been particularly frustrating for me. I was always very quick with names. I could remember people's celebrity names, movie names, and things like that. I could just right away remember it. And now I'm like, that's the what's the guy with the thing and the hat and the blah. And I freaking hate it. I hate it. Need more RAM? No, I'm just getting old. I'm 44. Everything's downhill from now. From here on out, everything's going to slow down. All of it. I have to do this when I look at my phone. I have to take my glasses off. And I don't want bifocals. I would need every lens in my glasses to be sent with the bottom half no prescription. I hate it. When it's so central to how you converse, like how I communicate, how I talk, it's extremely frustrating. It's like somebody who, plays a sport suddenly feeling slower. Like, that's what I feel like. I'm like, this is the sport that I play. I play a verbal sport, and I'm slowing down noticeably. I'm annoyed by it. Yeah, that's totally me now. My family makes fun of me. They'll be like, look at this, Papa. And they'll hand me something, and I'm like, hang on a second. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Or I'll be doing this on the couch. I'll just drag him to the tip of my nose and look over my glasses. Madam loves that. She's like, yo, you okay, old man? You all right? I'm like, no, my eyeballs don't work right anymore. They don't do what they're supposed to do. Dang it. And it's annoying. Great shirt, by the way. I love it when a plan comes together. That's a movie I'm low-key glad that they didn't make a sequel to, because it's fun. It's just a fun movie. It honors the show, and then that was it. They didn't make another one because it probably wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been enjoyable. What I think we'll see in 007 when comparing platforms are major differences in crowd populations. You'll see large crowds and less on consoles. I'm sure it'll be CPU tuned. I don't think I've seen anything in 007 First Light that tells me you're going to see population density differences between PC and console. I don't think so, brother. It's not that kind of game. They're very, very contained sequences and buildings and stuff. He's not like roaming around downtown London or something, just like walking around. You're definitely getting the cybernetic implants when they're available. No, I'm not. I had people be like, you should get that LASIK. You should get that LASIK. Now these people that had LASIK are complaining. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't get that. Glad I didn't get that LASIK. Seeing halos and crap around lights. I'm like, I don't mind doing this. I can live with that. I can't live with seeing halos around lights. Speaking of potential performance issues, have you seen the spec requirements for Dawnwalker? The spec requirements for Dawnwalker are weird because everybody was like, that's not too bad for native. I don't understand. Like, why would you... Sterling, thank you for 26 months over there on Purple. Thank you so much. That's a lot of months using your Prime. It's very, very kind. See, you hate Halo. That's right. Everything I see makes me think of Halo. At one level, Omar, I can appreciate requirements for native Because a lot of times you look at these spec sheet requirements and everything's got upscaling baked in. And you're like, well, I don't even really know what I'm going to get then if I, depending on what upscalers are available on my card system or what have you. So like at one level, I kind of appreciate that it's a spec sheet requirement that's all native. But yeah, it looked pretty demanding. I was like, dadgum. I was like, this game, Dawnwalker, is going to be tough to run on a console, apparently. If they can leverage PSSR or FSR in a good way, I think it'll be just fine. I just liked how the gameplay looked. I thought the gameplay looked significantly better than it had in the past. Because in the past, I thought it looked a little clunky. I thought it looked a little clunky. I was like, I don't know about this one, boys. It looked like it was going to be a little rough around the edges. Hello, everyone. Yo, what's good, Light Leap? How are you? You said exactly, Omar. Yeah, like, I guess I don't mind being given a spec sheet for native, but, yeah, it's... My money's on the GTA 6 Trailer 3, and the pre-order's going live either on May 5th or the 12th. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. We're kind of banking on May the 5th. We were kind of scheduling some things, and I was like, yeah, we should probably leave May 5th completely open, because May 5th it could be GTA 6 Trailer Day. It's Cinco de Mayo. Like, there's some alignment there, I think, with it. Hope all is well. Yeah, it's going well over here. We're having a good old time. It's gonna be May. That's right. Even if pre-orders don't go live by the 21st, Trailer 3 will drop before the earnings call. Is that how they did the last trailer? Did they make sure to push out Trailer 2 before an earnings call? I don't actually remember. GTA 6 Trailer 2. Let's see. It was May the 6th. I think you're right. It was May the 6th. It was before the earnings call. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good predictive powers. I bet you they do it on May the 5th. I bet. For Cinco de Mayo. And last year, May the 6th landed on a Tuesday. And this year, May the 5th lands on a Tuesday. I think that's pretty good. I think that works. So GTA 6 Trailer 3 could be very, very near at hand, boys. If there's no major news that day and we're feeling good about it, maybe there's more rumblings before then, we could do a waiting room. I don't like doing those, but when the news is slow and we got a pretty good feeling, I could consider doing it. Last couple times we just didn't do it. The intel was bad. Oh boy, another waiting room. It doesn't really change what we can do or talk about. We're just doing the same thing that we always do. Guys, thank you so much for 300 likes. Make sure every time you come into the stream, that's what you're doing. You're hitting that little thumbs up and giving the stream a little bit of love. And you don't even care for GTA at all. I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people are like, just, it's not a super important, game for them. And I think that's totally fine. That's totally fair. I don't expect every single, person to like a popular game. Like, sometimes popular games, like GTA 6 in particular, I actually think a lot of gamers are going to be annoyed because it's just going to kind of take over. It's going to take over the conversation. It's going to take over streams. There'll be a lot of games that don't release because, nobody wants to be near the GTA 6 release date. And I think Strauss Zelnick's joke about how a bunch of people are going to be taking off from work on November the 19th. I don't think he would do that right before the earnings call if they were going to be delaying it again. I think the release date's locked in at this point. And I would not be surprised at all if we get GTA 6 Trailer 3 this coming Tuesday. No, it was not delayed again. The exact opposite. Strauss Zelnick was at an event in Las Vegas, and he joked about people taking time off of work on the 19th of November. I don't think he would do that right before an earnings call if they were going to need to delay it again. And I do think it's a very good prediction that we get GTA 6 Trailer 3 this coming Tuesday, which is May the 5th. That's how they did it last year. They did it on May the 6th, which was a Tuesday. And I think it stands to reason that that's how they end up doing it. Because I think if they drop that trailer, they get everybody freaking hyped, and then they're going to come out of their earnings call and they're going to be primed and ready to do pre-orders. They're going to be ready to go. They'll be able to accept pre-orders. They'll be able to accept, and then they'll be able to cite that in other earnings reports, because that'll basically be, sales projections and trajectories for the game. A lot of people feel that people are going to not be interested, and then when the game launches, everyone buying it, haters are going to play it. Oh, I think there are people that will just straight up not play it, brother. There are people that just don't care. It just doesn't speak to them in any way. Jake Baldino got to play it, and he says, I came in with high expectations, and the 3 hours I played impressed me. 007. Hitman Light, sure, but I was surprised how Batman watchdogsy it was. Good combat, in-depth social stealth sequences, and subtle nods for real Bond fans. If they can keep the quality and momentum up for the full runtime, I think it's an adventure game that fans will be pleased with. He says video soon. So yeah, it looks like a lot of folks got to get some hands on. I trust Jake. I feel like if he doesn't like something in a preview or it doesn't land on him, I feel like he says it. I don't feel like he just tries. I don't feel like he just tries to be positive whenever he plays something. I feel like if something's not hitting him, he'll say. If you guys are just tuning in and you're curious about the GTA 6 release date or the GTA 6 Trailer 3, we're kind of theorizing when it's going to hit. I think it's going to hit this Tuesday. I think that's when they'll do it. They'll do it before the earnings call, just like last year. And maybe even provide us with a pre-order date. I think the November release date's locked in at this point. I do. I think the November release date's locked in. I think at this point, I don't think you joke about the release date and people taking time off on November the 19th. Like, I don't think you do that like right before an earnings call. Unless you are like, yeah, it's locked in. I think the last time they did a delay, it was like all of a sudden they weren't saying anything. They weren't joking. They weren't talking. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we have to delay it. So, Batman plus Watchdog sounds compelling. Jake Baldino's solid. He's always pretty honest. Yeah, he gives me those vibes of like, if he doesn't like something, I don't think he can hide it. I think he just straight up says, like, there are people that can kind of put on a good show and just be positive about everything. And if he's not vibing with something, I feel like he just straight up will tell you. I thought most gamers enjoyed GTA 5. They sold 250 million copies, I think. It's okay. It's subjective. I personally only plat the single player. Well, of the 250 million, there's a lot of people who double dipped, but there's also a lot of us that just didn't vibe with the game at all. You know what I mean? A lot of us just didn't vibe with it. I'm kind of over GTA, says Alex. I'm in my mid-30s now. Ain't got time for games like that. Also, the Florida setting is a nah for me. Why don't you like the Florida setting? I mean, I don't like Florida at all. Did you like James Bond back in the PS2 era? I actually did not have a PlayStation until the PlayStation 4, and that I only really played Destiny on because my audience sent it to me for that purpose. I'm in Cali. It's against the law for me to like Florida. I think that's fair. I think there's plenty of reasons to not like Florida. Yeah, bashing my state, I see. Listen. You can be from Florida, but you have to admit, y'all are really easy to dislike. I mean, number one, you're Florida. Do we need to say much else? Number two, it's a frickin' basement swamp of misery for most of the year. Number three, I'm just going to keep going. Florida man, you know what I mean? There's dinosaurs down there. You know what I mean? There's a lot to not like. Florida is bad, and so are their hockey teams. Hey! Tampa Bay Lightning's been pretty good for a couple of years. I remember they were pretty good for a while there, weren't they? You can be from Florida, just don't be Florida man. This is correct. Too much humidity, Gators, tell them. That's what I'm saying. They literally shot guns into the hurricane. Yeah, they'll shoot at hurricanes. What's my guy? What's my Irish guy? My man from TikTok. He's so funny. I love him to death. He was talking about how we have a hurricane season. He is so funny. Garen Noon. Garen is like, you know, he does his American accent. I'm just boarding up my windows for hurricane season. He's so funny. It's wild to call retirees dinosaurs. I'm not calling retirees dinosaurs. I'm calling dinosaurs dinosaurs. There are alligators down there. Those are dinosaurs. They're small but vicious and kind of grumpy dinosaurs. And they're just around. You know? Just the arrogance of humanity that we're just like, yeah, this is their habitat. We're just going to kind of hang out here, live here, and, you know, we'll put them in cages and wrestle on them and jump on them and stuff. Like, human beings, we're so arrogant. We're just like, alligators? Who the frick cares? Those are dinosaurs. Yeah, but they're small, you know? Lono, I'm going to need your Kentucky Derby picks. I don't go to the Derby. It's too expensive, and it's always cold and rainy. It's always miserable for people in the infield, unless you can get into like one of the rooms where there's like temperature control and no rain. Jamal says, I just beat Biome 2, and it's guiding me to return to Passage. This is the right thing to do. Only return to Passage with the teleporter. Do not use the menu. For the main story, Jamal, you have to return to Passage after you beat a biome, but keep going. There's a teleporter that you will use. I completely screwed my game up. I literally, because it said go to Passage or return to Passage, so I paused the game and I clicked on return to Passage. Do not do that. That is considered you abandoning the run. It treats it as a death. You'll get a death penalty on your Lucenite, and it won't save the fact that you killed the boss. You'll keep going, and there'll be a literal portal that you stand in. And when you use the portal to go back to Passage, it doesn't count it as abandoning the run. A Florida man was arrested for attempting to baptize an alligator in a Waffle House using a pitcher of iced tea. That has to be fake. Come on. You're enjoying Pragmata? 28 hours of Pragmata. I loved it. You were talking about the teleporter? Oh, you're fine to use the teleporter. You have to use the teleporter. You do. Yeah. We caught a baby gator at work and sent him back into the wild. He was vicious. I know. Yes, and you did that because human beings enter the world. Our default settings are just pure arrogance. Just pure arrogance. We're like, yeah, it's a dinosaur, but it's small, so I'm just going to pick it up. You know, you've seen people toying around with little baby gators and getting bit. Why? Because our default settings are that we're the kings of everything, so we're just going to do it. How's Soros? Loving it. Loving it. It clicked for me, and I also have kind of figured out why people are saying it's easy. I don't think they're being honest or accurate. Once you turn those mods on, it makes it significantly easier. So experienced Returnal players are putting it on easy mode and whining that it's easy. They're morons. They're morons. If you leave the mods off, it is still very genuinely challenging, even if you're leveling up your skill tree. So, Justin, thank you so much. A few hours into Soros and it's kicking my behind, but I'm loving it. Thank you so much. Like, I was playing Biome 1 and 2, and I kept going right into 2. And I was like, I don't know why people are saying this game is easy. I think these people are freaking insane. Hang on. We have people submitting questions with the question command. I always forget that we have this. Kino Mansky says, what was your 2024 game of the year? I didn't play Astrobot, but I was a bit surprised it won. I feel Metaphor should have won. My game of the year that year was Stellar Blade. I absolutely loved it. Followed by Astrobot. TJ says, is there a franchise you can think of that could be adapting the Housemark playstyle? Metroid. Let me clear out the question queue. Yeah, I think the latest Metroid proves that they need to consider a change, and I think a Metroid that moved and acted similar to Housemark's formula with Returnal and Soros would be unbelievable. Can you imagine the bosses like fighting like Ridley in fricking like the Returnal format? Oh my gosh. Inject that into my veins. Imagine the Metroidvania formula in the Housemark, like getting new abilities and getting new stuff and like retreading. I mean, there's already Metroidvania in Returnal and in Soros a little bit with like grappling hook and stuff. Yo, GT5 King with the double dip. He renews on Purple. He renews on YouTube. And we're 20 away from the next milestone. Thank you for 18 months on Purple and 16 months on YouTube. GT5 King. Yeah, Metroid or Contra. Oh, yeah, Contra would be sick. Yeah. Yeah. I would love Returnal, but you can turn into a ball. I'm intrigued. I would love for Housemark to influence the market in the way that we've seen with other games, and like there's studios right now thinking like we should do a game like that. Like imagine a Metroidvania. It doesn't have to be a rogue, like a true Metroidvania in that style. Yo, Black Batman with 19 months. Not a fan of rogue games, but Soros looks good. Let me add you to the total. Thank you so much. Yeah, Contra would be sick because of the bullet hell and the weapons and stuff that you could find. That would be a good one. I agree. Yeah. Drunk tourist molests manatee outside statue, outside Florida bar, deputies say. Yeah, I took a picture once of an alligator sign that said don't molest the alligators. And I was like, Florida, are you okay? Like, why is this sign even needed? There are literal signs. Yeah. This is a real sign. Like, I literally took a picture of this. Danger. Do not feed or molest. Brothers, Florida is not okay. You guys are not okay, bro. You talk about like regressive Neanderthalic existence. The fact that this sign is needed. Number one, we don't even need to talk about molest. Why do you need to be told not to feed them? Like, what is wrong with you guys down there, bro? What are y'all doing? Number one, you shouldn't need to be told not to feed a dinosaur. Number two, molest? Are you guys okay? What is happening down there? Florida law. It's a law, bro. Florida law prohibits the feeding or molesting of alligators. It's a $500 fine. Now, I know some of you are like, it's just an expensive date. But to the rest of us sane people, yo, thank you, Danny, for 28 months. I have renewed and got married yesterday. What are you doing here if you just got married? Danny, congratulations, dude. Go have fun. Get out of here. How do you even do it? Well, okay. I think can it be an anon? It can also be used to say you are annoying or you are disturbing or persecuting. Its primary use is in a sexual way. But molest can also be to annoy, disturb, or persecute. Shakespeare, why doth molest my contemplation? Right? Bees flew past him. Bees flew into him. Bees settled upon his coat. But not a single bee molested him. Right? Why didn't they put disturb then? Zubair. It's Florida. They gotta have a wide net. You know what I mean? They gotta cast a wide net here. Because there are people that are probably, you know. Why do they just put disturb? Because you know there's gonna be a guy that's like, hey, man, the alligator was into it, bro. I don't know what your problem is. I wasn't disturbing him. And they're like, that's a $500 fine. You got to cover the bases, man. It's freaking Florida. Florida needs Jesus. Listen, if Jesus came back right now, he'd be like, Florida? He'd have to be convinced. He'd have to be convinced. I'm like, listen, Lord, we got to go down there. They need you. And he's like, really? Florida? Fine. Like, that's how he would respond. He would be reluctant. Frickin' Florida. He'd be like, I know I put him there, but there's gators down there, bro. I don't want to go down there, man. As a guy from from coastal South Carolina, they don't have these signs, but they might need them. Yeah, I don't know. He'd be like, I made that nah, fam. I know what they're doing down there. They're down there molesting alligators. Jiminy Christmas. Like I told you, human beings, our default settings are just pure arrogance. You know? Just out here feeding and molesting alligators. It's just unbelievable. Somebody wanted a gator human baby, I'm telling you. That's what it was. They weren't drunk, you know? They weren't crazy. They were trying to innovate within the human race. They're like a gator baby. Could be important. Are there signs in California that say don't feed or F the condors? They were trying to create King Croc. That's right. Imagine trying to explain that charge to someone. Well, yeah, I was fined for molesting a gator, but not in a sexual way. That's exactly right. Florida man charged on assault with a deadly weapon after tossing a gator in a Wendy's drive-thru. Yeah. I told you, man. You can be from Florida, but you guys just have to you just have to own it. Right? You just have to own the fact that it's completely legitimate to not like Florida. Y'all are not okay down there, bro. You guys are not okay. Like, not at all. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can do this fast enough here. Save. Someone just made the perfect mod for Pragmata. Yeah, I saw the Monsters Inc. one. It's kind of adorable. Because the game is kind of adorable. All hail Diana. Okay. Okay. No. 1 second, chat. Just taking care of something real quick here. Okay. There we go. Constitutional carry swamp land of redness? Huh? I don't even know what you just said. A smiley with the VIP gets us to 308. If you guys are going to want to unlock that Saturday stream with Madam, you're going to need to band together. Make sure everybody's checking their renewals and their primes. And thank you so much for all the likes on the video. Over 300 likes. Crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. YouTube a little behind in the competition today, 53 to 50. Strong day, though. Both platforms showing out and showing support. And we appreciate it. Hilly says, Twitch W. Taking the W. I tell you what. D2 has more viewers than Marathon already. That's not hard to do anymore. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take a brief break. And we'll keep it going. We'll keep the conversation going. And we got more planned for today. So don't go anywhere. No. I was madam, she was following me. She's like, no, I'm coming down to do the laundry. I was like, are you following me? Subnautica 2 early access is just weeks away. What's it called? Another game went into early access today. AC Black Flag Resynced has over 1 million wish lists. Not surprising. There was a thing. Star Seeker. What's Astroneer? Astroneer Star Seeker went into early access today. Let's see how it's doing. Because it looked to me kind of like Astroneer meets No Man's Sky. It must be a demo. Starseeker demo? I'm not seeing it. I swear I saw Devolver Digital tweet about it. I love how all of the PlayStation studios congratulate another studio on their work. It's awesome. They put out like all the pictures and stuff. Speculation about GTA 6 being at $100. Strauss Zelnick addresses the rumors. Although he doesn't confirm the price, he assures that the goal is for the player to feel that the price is fair for an incredible product. I don't think they're going to push the pricing envelope. I really don't. I think they can pull a much smarter play by having it be like, 70, and then they can charge like $100 for the deluxe edition for 2 days of early access. They'll sell way more copies at $100 by doing that. That's been my opinion for a while, is just 70, and then some deluxe amazing edition for 48 hours of early access for the 100. Game Informer's got cover story for the 007 game, the Bond game. Where did it go? I'm trying to find it. I swore they tweeted that there was a demo of it today. I'm scrolling. Do you guys ever do that? Like you're just scrolling and you can't find the thing that you swore you saw? Florida news and Discord. Drunk man tries to use taco as ID after his car catches on fire at Taco Bell. Florida man falls asleep while robbing home. Florida man tells cops he didn't drink while driving, only at stop signs. I mean, at least he was honest. Where did it go? I swear I saw it. Been scrolling for a while now. See, and I'm stubborn now. Instead of just going to Devolver's Twitter account, I'm just going to keep scrolling like a stubborn idiot. I know I'm close to... Screw it. Okay. Don't talk to us today. We're deep into the Starseeker game beta. Yeah, it must be a closed beta. Remedy shares first details on Control Resonance New Game Plus mode. Upgrades, unlock supernatural combat abilities, talents, artifacts, and more will persist into the next run. That's cool they're doing that. I don't typically do New Game Plus in a game like that. I don't know why. It just doesn't... I did it in... I did it in friggin' Batman Arkham Knight. But I've not done it in most any. Lone, are you using any modifiers? I did, and I felt like it really... So, I'm gonna stream the game today. And I'm gonna show you guys why I feel like the modifiers have completely shaded people's opinion of the game. I feel like a lot of people that were saying it's super easy and they're like flying through the game, I feel like they're either being willfully dishonest or they just completely forgot that they turned the modifiers on. I also think that it can be really fun, even though it does, you know, kind of trivialize a lot of the challenge. It can be really fun. Like, I played Biome 1 and 2 last night with my modifiers on that I had turned on, and it was just fun. I'm balanced. I'm not going into the settings and making it to where you don't have to balance it, because you can just go straight easy mode. So I am playing balanced, but the mods just really, really do make it easy. So I thought we would do that today. I would show people, like, look at how much this kind of trivializes the game. Not in a bad way. Like, it can make it really freaking fun. Like, last night, I was, like, eating a burger, drinking a beer, and just playing. And I wasn't having to be, like, hyper. Now, you can't, Junebug, thank you so much for 35 months and a Prime over there on Purple. You can't play like an idiot, but you can certainly play a lot more casual. You can. And I like that sometimes. Sometimes you just want to play casual. Sometimes you just want to, like, you know, I don't know, fly casual. You just want to kind of run around and just get some kills and enjoy the boss fights, right? But today, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to show people, like, I don't think you're just going to scream through the game. I don't think you're just going to run ripshot over it like it's nothing. And I think that is largely why people are claiming it's just super, super easy. According to Chris Dring, the Circana Q1 2026 consumer survey found that the number one reason people buy consoles is for their exclusives. That's shocking, given that we constantly hear the opposite argued by the oh-so-intellectual attachment rate argument. You know? The incredibly logical, reasonable, and not bad faith at all attachment rate argument is just so compelling. I can't believe that the number one reason people buy a console is for the exclusives. Wow. Who could have seen this coming? Who could have possibly thought that was the reason people would buy a console? Not the two market leaders in the console space. No. Except that's what they do and use. But, I mean, nobody else could have seen this coming. What a shocking result. It's a stunning turn of events. I play games all the time on easy. I'm playing my games to have fun, not get upset. Plus, my backlog is huge. There is no harm in playing it on easy. My frustration with people in Returnal is they're basically saying, game's too easy. And it's like, but you're playing it on easy. Like, if you set the game to easy, you can't complain about it being on easy. Like, imagine buying a game and putting it on story mode and being like, it was too easy, I flew through the game. Anybody would say, looking at that, they'd be like, you're an idiot. You played the game on easy. So, Star Wars announcements would normally happen around May 4th and Star Wars Day, but they announced today because it probably is in fear of the GTA 6 trailer. Probably. Silver Subaru with 63 months in a VIP rounds us out to 310. Thank you, sir. Can't believe I almost forgot to celebrate. Let's go, Lona. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Returnal has an easy mode? No, Returnal does not have an easy mode. I might have misspoke and said Returnal. I think I misspoke. I was speaking about Saros. Sorry. I do that. I interchange them sometimes. What did Star Wars announce? Pre-order bonuses and the release date for the Galactic Racer game. You know what I mean? So, and the hidden one says, I got to play Assassin's Creed Resynced. That looks really good. I know it's just like the hub, and they've scrolled to Resynced, but that looks really good. I always wonder how people beat Returnal all 6 biomes until I see you come back at biome 4. Yes. Yes. That's how I beat the game all the time until just this week. Just this week, I streamed myself playing biome 1 through 6 in one run, but you do not need to do that. 4 becomes the checkpoint. So, my money is on a GTA 6 trailer 3 dropping May 5th, and pre-orders going live May 5th or by the May 12th, just to give them at least a week. So Zelnick can take that into the earnings call. Why isn't it July already? What's in July? I can barely contain myself. Weezy says, I don't typically do New Game Plus period anymore outside Souls games. One of the reasons... Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I forgot that I showed AC Black Flag. Yeah, AC Black Flag's July. We're going in and out of so many different topics. Yeah, I think one of the reasons, too, I don't do New Game Plus now is because the backlog's so freaking ridiculous. It's like, so as soon as I'm done with a game, I really do feel like I gotta go. I gotta go to the next game. You know, I can't be hanging out in a game forever. I can't be doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, I gotta move on. Because it's like, I feel that pressure to move on to the next game. Returnal's a masterpiece. Loved it. Used the cloud saving glitch to not lose progress. I wonder if that's still a thing in Saros. It probably is. I wish that wasn't a thing. I mean, I'm not going to shame you for using it, but that really takes away from the formula. You know what I mean? It really takes away from the formula. But I get why people do it. You know, you got limited time. Excuse me. You got limited time, and you're just like, dude, I'm just trying to get through this game. You beat the Prophet first try with a pistol. What a rush. Nice. Are you an experienced, like, Returnal player? Did you play a lot of Returnal? I think if you've leveled yourself up pretty well and got yourself into a really good place, yeah. You can crush him on that first run. His telegraphs are really, really well done. The only thing I keep messing up is when he does the 3 blasts of, like, it's a big arc of the green balls. I get caught by one of them because I feel like my dodge isn't ready. So I'm not quite sure what... I think I started to just start sidestepping. I just started sidestepping, and so some of them I don't have to dodge. So, like, getting maybe a little bit more confident in that fight, I think is just the case of, like, just sidestep instead of dodging. Yeah, the explosive round pistol's pretty strong. I will say the weapon diversity is probably the one part of the game that I'm starting to feel a little disappointment in. Like, there was a world of difference between, like, a carbine and a hollow seeker and a dreadbound. And the guns being more, like, realistically based, I kind of feel like I just feel like I'm just hunting for a rifle every time. I'm a little disappointed. I've been skipping the shotgun every time. Yeah, the shotgun feels incredibly stupid. There were versions of the Spit Maw that were ridiculous. But I haven't found a version of the shotgun that makes sense to me. It just seems like I got to get so close to everybody, and it's merciless when you do that, which I guess I like that they make a close quarters fighting style viable, because there are some perks that really benefit from melee. Like if you stagger an enemy, you do massive amount of damage on your next melee, and maybe that's meant to complement the shotgun because the shotgun has high stagger. Once I'm done with Pragmata and the upcoming Path of Exile 2 League, I'll probably replay Control after getting the Ultimate Edition on Steam in preparation for Control Resonant. Yeah, Control Ultimate Edition was, what, like $4 for a while there. Mr. Polar Bear says, yes, I beat Returnal. Yep. That the third phase when he slams on the ground and tries to catch you in the air was a quick adjustment I needed to do. Yeah. Yep. The guy stomping everywhere in Biome 3 just got me. Oh, the guy like goes up and slams. Elite versions of him are very frustrating. He's he's like super aggressive. He's like super aggressive when you're in one of the rooms where he has like the symbol above his head, I think, to signify he's different. Now that Star Wars Galactic Racer is set for early October, I wonder how many other games will brave the October release. I feel bad for any games launching October close to GTA 6. I think that first, maybe second week of October, we'll see like maybe a couple. Maybe. Outside of that, no. I just don't think so. I just don't think anybody's going to want to land any major game, any major studio, any reasonable sized studio. They're just not going to want to. Seems like most games are aiming for September, early October at this rate. I don't blame them. No, because the real danger is not just the GTA 6 release date, right? It's not just the GTA 6 release date. It's the marketing. I really do think it's the marketing more than anything. It's like you don't want to be in proximity. Those 2 weeks, those like the 2 to 3 week lead up is going to be ridiculous. There's just going to be, trailers and pre-orders and screenshots and gameplay. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot. And I don't think anybody wants to be in that proximity. Because if you're in that proximity, like, you're going to have a hard time getting anybody's attention. Like, imagine trying to release your game and, like, a new trailer drops, or there's a leak, or there's a pre-order bonus trailer that hits. Like, it's just going to be, in an attention economy, it's going to be extremely hard to get anybody's attention in that lead up to GTA 6. I remember when Silksong Shadow dropped, and there were a few indie devs that were like, yeah, this is cool, but we just got completely overshadowed. Yeah, I felt bad for those indie studios, like, yeah. It was like, oh, I don't think Silksong Shadow dropped, right? It was just a really short release window. I feel like those studios probably didn't have time to adjust or switch their release date. Did you start from 1 after getting to Biome 3 or just start from 2? I haven't tried starting from 2. Today, I'm going to run 1 to 3 with mods on. Then I want to run 1 to 3 with mods off. I kind of want to show people the difference in why you should, I think, start from 1. But I also think you should consider starting I just play through the game without mods unless you absolutely think you need it. Like, you know what I mean? Don't soften the difficulty until you feel like you need it. It's a game where you should be failing and dying. If you're running the mods and you're just kind of skating through, which was the experience that like I was having, I was like, yeah, I think I want to turn this off. I think it's okay to run them. But I also think if you run them and you feel like you're moving too quickly through the game, then I would just turn them off and play the game on the default settings. I don't have anybody who has plans releasing in the 3rd week of November. Yeah, from November on, it's going to be absolutely brutal. from as soon as you're in November, that's just considered GTA 6's month at this point. You know. Hogwarts Legacy is being distributed for free on the Epic Games Store to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Harry Potter. So if you guys have been wanting to snag that on PC and you don't mind using Epic Games Store, that's not bad. That's an enormous and I think actually very high quality game. Yeah. Too bad Nintendo owns Metroid, because Housemark making a Metroid game would be amazing. It would be. A lot of people said they said Returnal gave them those vibes. They felt like it was like a Metroid. You know. It helps that, you know, Celine is a girl. That was free last year too. Oh, do they do it every year? I miss good Metroid. They really gave us Metroid Dread and then effed right off. Yeah. People were asking me would I like to see Housemark's formula like use another game or franchise, and like without skipping a beat, I was just like, yeah, Metroid. Just that's what I would do. Metroid. Yep. All right, let's switch gears here. Let's go. Okay. Are you enjoying Strauss's narrative so far? Yeah, and I actually think that's another thing that people messed up on. I think people are coming back after a death, and they're interacting with the cutscenes and the dialogue, and it's not landing on them because that's like the worst time to do it. I did it once. I was a little frustrated. I was a little annoyed, and I was going back and I was talking to people, and I was like, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing this right now because it doesn't land on you." Soros had another update, 003.004. They've not been saying what they're updating. I definitely... Oh, by the way, I went back and watched the Biome 1 boss fight that we theorized something was wrong or glitched. The first time I fought the Biome 1 boss yesterday, it took me 5 minutes to beat him. The second time took me almost twice as much time, almost 10 minutes. Something was definitely not right. He wasn't cycling his attacks properly, and there were these long stretches where like I couldn't do any damage to him. It was very strange. It's funny, Returnal reminded me of Metroid Prime, and that you're alone and isolated. The environments and scannables tell the story. I love that about Prime, and was sad when they moved away in Prime 2 and 3. I always prefer subtle storytelling. Yeah. Yeah, I thought the subtle storytelling in Returnal was great. Wait, hang on. I was just making sure the sound was synced up. Turn my music off. Members are up. We got to put me and the members. We got to go up a touch. I think like right here. Okay. Let's see. Stream holding. Mouse PI updated. Actually, let me do the picture first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What the heck? Okay. Almost ready, chat. I will give you guys a link as well on YouTube if you guys want to head over. Support for gameplay has been great. It really, really has. Thank you to everybody who has been doing that. Okay, there's a link in chat. If I miss anything during these, just always alert me if you guys are like renewing memberships or primes and things, and if I don't see them. Good stream today. I'm not gonna watch people play games, so this is where I make my exit. Yeah, that's totally fine. Thank you so much for the support for the talk show. Okay. Link in chat. I'll also be able to redirect you guys. All right. Thank you so much for checking out this video. We are going to be doing some more Saros gameplay in this stream, particularly focusing on Saros Biome 3. Now, I have unlocked the modifiers, so I'm going to give some tips and tricks for those who are trying this game out. I have continued to say, I think a lot of the people that said this game was incredibly easy and they ran through biomes 3, 4, 5, and 6 with ease, I think they turned on modifiers and either forgot or they just don't want to say that because it's fun to have an ego about being really good at games. Those modifiers significantly make the game easy. You can even go into the settings and make it to where you don't have to balance the modifiers out. So I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over with redirect, and then we're going to run this biome 1 through 3 with the modifiers on, and then we're going to run biome 1 through 3